like it's kind of all too much. I'm like,
yeah, and then you really get after it and hit the power driver.
Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Mayhem. I'm your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on the Twit machine and all social media at MMMshow 75? Is that right, Byron?
MMMshow 75 at symbol.
Are you still maintaining some of our social media accounts? Do you do that still?
Do
you work here still?
I maintain Instagram. I'm not responsible for the DMs. I think MeFlow DMs from the account. So if you get anything weird,
I think everyone in the world is probably like, what the fuck is going on? Every week there's a different compendium of individuals on this dais, this virtual dais of ours.
Sounds like you guys are real on top of it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, there's Brandon. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
You're alive. When's last I saw you, you were rolling up into the bleachers, I think.
Right? Yeah. That finally aired. Finally talked about
it. Best cameo all season. We'll definitely get to that. Byron, where can people find you, and where the hell were you last week?
Last week I was at the SVA Theater, I believe, in the West Village, listening and watching Patton Oswalt talk, New Yorker Festival. It went an hour longer than I was expecting. So
wait. You skipped work for Patton Oswalt? I thought it was a wrestling show or something.
I was going to, no. So during the show, I was seeing Patton Oswalt, and that went an hour longer. I thought I was going to get out in time to do this. But also last week, I saw MLW tape, and that was a lot of fun. Got to see LA Park. I got to see Hijo del LA Park. And I got to see Marco Stunt, who's like a 12-year-old who took a Doomsday Destroyer from Teddy Hart, who is amazing. I don't think his face ever changes, though. He has that like Xanaxed out.
Was there any cats in the ring? Because isn't Teddy Hart really into cats?
There were no cats, but Flying Brian, his son wrestled with tights that were kind of cool. They had lots of family tributes. Like they had the Four Horsemen symbol, and he had a sort of a cross on his tights with fallen members of the Hart Foundation on each arm of the cross.
So he was being real light about the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he was like carrying, I guess he wanted to bum everyone out.
Oh, no, really? I always felt like Teddy Hart and Space Cat Sami Callihan should get together and tear it up. He gets fueled off the Space Cat, he'd love it.
And form a trio.
Yeah.
had a match, I think, against, is it Jimmy Havoc?
I feel like
Havoc and Jimmy Jacobs mixed up.
I feel like every day for Sami Callihan is a match. Just every waking moment.
Yeah.
At least the past year it has been. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He has like a phlegm problem.
Yeah, I've experienced it. I've watched it out of my jeans.
I watched him do that, miss his hand, and it landed in someone's pint in the first row.
Oof.
The crowd's head followed it as it flew through the air and landed in a drink.
Meef, you went to some shows recently too. What did you go to since the last time we saw you?
Firstly, fuck you, Byron.
Everyone starts Everyone starts their thoughts that way, and he left. See, you just scared him away.
I am not seeing LA Park because that show got cancelled and they haven't actually said anything about it yet, other than me getting my fucking refund.
Hold on. I need to say something because this thing just came up at Impact. We should talk about.
Oh, something happened at Impact. I turned it off.
Should I be watching Impact right now?
No, I just wanted to get everyone's attention to say that Meef sucks and no one likes him. And also
I'm technically
we should call out the weird naked doll in the back of the room that I think certain parts of that doll will be more worn down than other parts.
Yeah. Does it have a lower half, or is the lower half?
I think it's being censored. Oh God! Oh stop! I don't want to see that.
This isn't a kid
show. Look at that smile on Meef's face.
Ooh, chocolate.
Oh, I still need to figure that thing out. So yeah, I went to Fight Club Pro. Was the shows I went to in England, which is what Mustache Mountain, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, that kind of their home. Trent Seven actually owns part of the company, I think.
Oh,
but I got
nice.
to see Walter in the same ring with Meiko Satomura. So that was pretty cool.
Does Walter still have the
Bandito
title?
Kavita.
Does Walter still have the PWG title?
He does, doesn't he?
That's the night. That's the
Yeah.
one and only night I was there is when he won the title from what's his bucket.
I never get to go to
Which was amazing.
PWG. As everyone knows, the amount of shows that I've been to recently is this many. The amount of shows I've had tickets to go to is this many.
Well, hopefully we'll go to Tuesday's Impact taping together.
If
We'll see what happens.
Again, I'm going to plan on it, and then I'm going to try to make it happen, and then, work and life and shit'll happen. It's amazing that we've gotten this show on the air the last few weeks. And if you didn't watch last week, go back and check it out, because the champ, that's right, the current Lucha Underground champ, was on this show. We've had champs in the past. We've had Trios champ, Thunder Rosa, a.k.a. Cobra Moon, on the show. But we've never had
a champ Byron.
I don't know if we've ever had a champ on this show while they were the reigning champ.
Yeah.
Of any kind. So you have to go back and watch it. And Marty the Moth does actually have the belt in his possession, and he showed it off a little bit last week. In fact, that was all he showed off, because the rest of the time he stayed naked and in the dark, which is probably better for all of us.
I think Marty lives like 10 miles from me.
Oh yeah, you guys are both out there in the country there.
Salt Lake.
In that next time zone.
Yeah.
Isn't he required by law to tell you if he lives near you?
He's required by law to tell him if he's within, I think, 10 miles of his house. I think that's part of that whole Megan thing.
Yeah. You do like the map of like predators around your neighborhood, and only Marty pops up a different color.
It's the
like,
moth logo on the website.
Yeah. But I was actually just working with Cobra Moon, Thunder Rosa, this past week, and she spoke very highly of you guys.
Well, I was also supposed to be there, and she may have spoken very highly of me to you, but she spoke very angrily to me directly because I was supposed to be at those tapings and didn't show up.
It was a good time. It was an interesting, fun time.
Now, were you working those?
Yeah, I was shooting. I was the main ringside camera for Women of Wrestling. Wow, it's like David McLean, the guy that originally co-created Glow. He's doing a new promotion for Axis TV, and we did the tapings earlier this week.
And see, and Jim was supposed to be here too to give us a little preview of that, because I gave Jim my tickets to go, and him and Ron went, and they were supposed to represent MMMshow there, which they did. They represented there, but then they were supposed to come here and tell us about said aforementioned representation, and have failed to do so. But I also rescheduled the time of this episode like 17 times, so I guess it's on my...
He was there. It's official. He was there. He was second row, just gleaming that Jimmy smile, big wide eyes. There was ladies there, so he was on point.
Wait, those tickets were second row? I thought McLean said he was giving me good tickets. Those were only second row? I thought he would put me in the front row.
You want second row because there's a barrier in the front row, and you could like barely look over. It was like this. So second row's
better. Okay.
Oh, there's a barrier. Wow. How else is production different?
How's this production different?
Yeah. So are you the only ringside camera?
Well, first of all, for those who don't know, Brandon is a camera guy. He's in our industry, and he's also a huge wrestling fan.
Portrait?
But he works on Lucha Underground, and he also worked on The Contender, which we've talked about many times on this show, and now he's doing WoW, which I'm sure we will be talking about on this show very often. So if you guys don't know who he is, Paul Cross, by the way, in the chat says, great guest. And that's because any believer who was actually in the temple for the episode that just aired has a great appreciation for Brandon, which we will also talk about when we talk about the episode. But yeah, so what was up with WoW? I'm curious, like how's WoW work?
WoW was great. I mean, it hasn't aired, so I can't obviously say too much about it, but it was, I'll tell you every match and who won. But it was great. It was Access TV, my first job with Access TV, but this will hopefully spiral into some New Japan gigs I was talking about. And it was just a whole different environment. All women, all ladies, of various different skill levels. And it was a great time. And the David McLean's it seems like he's all about, the characters and the gimmicks and the flash. And certain people were there that RVD was in attendance. Scorpio Sky was in attendance. Tyler Bateman was there, awfully quiet in the crowd.
Interesting.
Tyler Bateman, he had his contacts in. He just kind of sat there the entire time like he was going to bomb the place. But he was there. It was amazing. It was a great spectacle down at the Belasco Theater, and I hope we do it again.
Yeah,
Hey,
I've heard different
can I
things that they
interrupt real
may
quick?
tape. Well, go ahead,
If you
Byron.
get-
Just cut
if
me
you get
off.
a
It's
new
fine.
Jap-
That's
no,
fine.
this is
You
really-
ready?
This is
No, no,
important.
Are you good?
So if you get that new Japan gig,
We do this.
over me all the time. If you get that new Japan gig, can you get me a job? doing
Wait,
that
stop. Wait,
too?
no. You interrupted me to put
No.
yourself over?
Yes.
Again?
No, no.
Byron,
To
of course
beg
he did.
for a job.
Jesus.
I will.
Getting
You know what, Byron? I will. I'll get you that job, but for a
Yeah.
calendar year, you
Yeah.
have to wear that Pentagon mask behind you.
Can I? But I have
No, that one.
that one.
No, the bloody one.
The bloody
I
one.
can't talk about the bloody one. There's spoilers.
Oh, stop it.
That was from a house show.
Whatever. There's absolutely no secret to the fact that there is complete and utter carnage in the Ultima Lucha match
Of course.
between Marty and Pentagon. I don't even think Evie Dub himself would be mad about us saying that.
This
No.
is why you should
I'd also
watch Ultima Lucha 4.
That's the
Byron
Ultima Lucha
also
4
earlier-
mask, right?
Yeah.
When he bought the mask, he told us all of that. That's what the mask was from.
And I asked Marty Elias just after that match. He said, like, "Hey, see if Pentagon wants to sell that mask. Just let me know." Being real sly and cool about it. And I meet up with Byron afterwards. He's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
offered him. I'm going to offer him money for it. I'm going to get it."
You got to move fast when Byron's in the house. Because Byron was only had a few tapings this year. And as soon as he saw that match, he was like, I want that one.
But meanwhile, I had both of their blood on me, so I felt like I had a blood right passage for it, And
You had your own clothes. I had nothing. Well, I had my shoes that had their blood on them.
yeah,
That
You
was
have to
a.
sell your clothes. Are you doing bad things in car parks again, Byron? For
Yeah.
money?
Hey, take it easy. I don't go camping, Meef.
But we also call them parking lots, Meef.
Yeah.
They're parking lots.
Yeah. We all know that
Jesus,
you
and
never
alleyways,
just
and
passed time.
alleyways.
Yeah.
We all know you
Aluminium.
passed time of
He
doing
didn't put the body in the boot. He put it in the trunk in the parking lot. Work with me here. The trunk in the parking lot.
Mhm.
That's all a euphemism.
But a trunk's an object that you put things in your house and.
So,
Meef,
Brandon,
do you drive a car or you drive a lorry?
Oh,
I don't drive anything because I can't fucking drive. I'm not old enough. Look.
No, clearly judging by that mustache, you are not old enough. That is, in fact,
Hey, we got the same facial hair.
No,
mine
you
is
guys
so
do.
much thicker.
They're kind of the same.
There's no John Waters thing going on here. This is like
No.
real, honest to God, grown man hair. There's gray hairs in here, Meep. I'm clearly an old man.
No, Justin, you're
Yeah,
using.
but I'm
you
not.
have-
I'm
yes,
not
like-
pale and white. This looks quite like defined.
It looks like you fell down in some pink flamingo poo.
Meef, it looks like you're doing the recording in like a meat locker. Everything's very blue and hazy.
He's in England, so
It's-
that's
Ah.
how it is
Yeah.
over there.
That's what Falmouth looks like.
It's not. Yeah, foul.
Ask
Hey,
me
I live on
what
the
his
sea.
favorite
I live on the
dinner, dessert is.
What's Meef's favorite?
Oh God,
dessert?
no.
Say
Yeah,
it,
It's not.
Meep.
It's not.
Say
What,
it.
it's not what Byron wants to say.
We know what it is.
I
Say
know.
it, Meep.
Can I guess?
Yes.
You can take us.
Spotted dick.
Yeah.
Oh, the spotted dick thing will continue.
You could have
It's
said
got fruit
Yorkshire
in it. Might look
pudding.
like it's fruit.
You could have offered up
Oh,
Yorkshire
yeah.
pudding, and that would have been an
Oh,
acceptable answer, Meef. But you chose to wait it
Actually-
out and get spotted dick.
I am from Yorkshire. I am actually from the place of the pudding.
Oh,
But it's
so
not a
talking
pudding.
about himself again.
You can use it as a pudding. I'm going to put the pudding over, Byron. I'm going to put the pudding over because it can be used in 3 different ways. You can have it as
You
a
know the
starter.
last guy. You know what happened to the last guy who kept
People pour.
putting over.
Pudding over.
So,
The last guy to put pudding over. You know what happened to him? Same thing that's going to happen to you.
but the thing is with it, you can have it as a starter because that's what poor people did to keep them like filled up because it's quite a fatty, stodgy thing.
He went
Secondly,
to
you
jail.
have it with your main meal. But lastly, it's basically like a profiterole. So if you've got any left over at the end, you just put ice cream in that motherfucker.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Krabs. Hold on. I have to address Mr.
Oh,
Krabs.
God, Mr.
Yes.
Krabs is here.
Oh,
Of course, I remember when Bill Belichick was the coach of the Cleveland Browns. before the Cleveland Browns left Cleveland to become the Purple Browns and win a Super Bowl in another city. I remember Bill Belichick as our coach. Bill Belichick probably doesn't remember being our coach and probably doesn't want to.
Has Krabs been released from prison then? Because he's not been here for a while.
I guess so.
Is this a football podcast or is this a wrestling?
No, it's not. Which is why Mr. Krabs is ridiculous. He's just coming into our wrestling and MMA themed podcast and talking about football. So
Krabs is coming in hot.
Anything with guys in tight pants, we cover on this podcast.
Unless you count hockey.
So that's why I'm here.
Yes, guys in tight pants. Yeah. So I want to ask you about the Contender too, because I haven't caught up yet, but I do have Epics and I have it on demand. So I'm going to do a marathon at some point. But of course, I love Michael Moore, who is from Cleveland, and he has turned into quite possibly the year's best reality show villain, but without being villainized like most of our shows do. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just curious what you thought about the experience over at the Contender too, because it's a lot more of a real sports environment compared to a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of testosterone going around, and like you have your guys that are quiet, that are really reserved, kind of honing their chi, and you have guys that are just, kind of loud mouths, and guys like Michael Moore that kind of want to stir the shit a little bit. And that's how I think it's just a mental thing they get into, and they're loud and they just want to like get into mentally. And Michael Moore was the heel of Contender.
Yeah, he really was. But it's kind of great too to especially for someone who watches wrestling all the time, to see a heel kind of just let it breathe, where they didn't amp it up. There's not extra OTFs and interviews to make it more salacious. Like he does his little thing, but then you don't have like an interview piece with every guy commenting on his thing to make him seem even more evil. They just kind of let it breathe, and it's like, you make your own decision about Michael Moore. Yeah, he just said some shit. What do you think? Yeah, exactly. And I kind of like that, and I've been really amazed with that show. And in fact, it's probably of any of the sports reality shows my favorite one of all time, including Tough Enough and Ultimate Fighter and Tap Out and some of the ones I've even worked on myself. But I really am loving this. I think it's better than the other seasons of the Contender.
Yeah, I mean that I hold Contender deep in my heart because it was my very first show in LA. And I had graduated film school in January. I did a Burnett show in January as well, my very first one, coming through Vegas, called The Casino. And then like a month or two later, we started the Contender. And I was there as an AC. So I did seasons 1, 2, and 3. Didn't do 4 because I was in Thailand. And then we did the 5th one. So I hold it real near and dear to my heart.
Well, so an answer if you want to answer, but how do you feel about the Epics thing? Because I'm almost saddened by, like, I have Epics and I got it for the show. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I want more people to be seeing this than are seeing it. But yet somehow, Eric was able to pull in a lot of the old crew and get guys back, and, and people were doing him favors to even just come back and work on the thing for a month or two, which is amazing to me because the talent level of the crew, I mean, all these guys have gone on to do bigger and better things everywhere. Mm-hmm. So bringing them back to a show that's now even on a smaller platform is amazing to get those guys back. But I'm hoping that there's some plans. I know they released the first episode on YouTube, but that there's some plans for some other syndication or something where people at large who don't have Epics get to finally see this show.
I mean, it's an amazing looking show. I mean, and I'm going to binge watch. I actually haven't watched any of it so far. But with on Epics, like, they don't bleep anything, do they? Or is it full go?
Full go.
Which I think is important for the grittiness of the environment and everything. I really think that on another network they might censor these guys, but Epics kind of lets certain things go. So yes, you have to pay a premium to see it, but it's a very premium looking show. So I hope syndication happens for it, and I hope it gets either picked up by Epics or another market that is a little more expansive.
Yeah, and or the other option to me is that if Epic starts getting other boxing events somehow, I mean, it's a tough market out there, and a lot of people are ESPN and HBO and Showtime and all these places are doing boxing. But if Epics were to somehow really get into that arena, which I feel like might be part of the goal, that then, you know, more boxing fans at least will be already at that destination and being able to check it out, especially if there's future seasons. And I can't see, after how well this season is going, them not doing another one. Now,
Right.
Do you know anything about the finale? It's coming up in November, right? The finale is going to be live, isn't it?
It's gonna be live. All the contender finales have been live. There's the undercard of guys that didn't make it to the top, and then the final fight. But I don't know. I haven't talked to Eric about it. I don't know if they're going to need my services. I don't even know where. It's got to be in Vegas, right?
When I talked to Eric at the beginning of the filming of the contender season, he said that they were going to do a live finale in Vegas, but he didn't know all the particulars yet. So who knows? Maybe they're putting it together as we speak.
Mark Burnett will figure it out.
Yeah, it was cool when I was at the very first taping too that Mark was actually there. Got to shake his hand and meet Mark for the first time, and I had never seen him in person ever, and I've been to a lot of tapings of his shows, but he actually came out for that one. It was a special moment.
I think you're lucky because I think it might be the only one he was at.
Yeah. So I came to that one, and I came to a couple of the quarterfinal matches, I think.
Okay.
Ross is saying the tickets are on sale for it.
You're looking? What? There's tickets on sale for it?
All Cross says there's tickets on sale.
For the contender finale? Ooh,
Yeah.
I better get one. That I would love to go to. Of course, it'll be something else that I buy a ticket to and then don't get to go.
Of course.
Yeah, but if you also get like a flight out from wherever you're supposed to be working, and then you still won't be able to take the flight.
Speaking of boxing,
Yeah.
Wilder punch.
The what?
Deontay Wilder killed a mascot.
Wait, yeah, what's up with Deontay?
It's amazing. He punched and broke his jaw.
What is up with these fighters and their extraneous violence?
It's almost like they have aggression issues.
Maybe a few daddy issues here and there.
Yeah.
It was on some like Spanish-speaking TV show, right?
Well, I mean, have you seen the mascot that he punched? I mean, it had a mustache like Meatloaf's.
Yeah, that makes sense why he punched.
Wouldn't you punch it too?
But like
it was nearly as white as me. So.
Yeah, but it was wild. I guess he was gonna punch the guy, and he just went straight up, hitting him as hard as he
Bruce
could.
Lee. It was the full Bruce Lee tensed fist standing there. It was amazing.
I mean, but come on, he had to think that the foam thing was going to probably protect the guy, right?
Yeah,
I don't think he was thinking.
I think he used that as an excuse to murder him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we all wanted to punch a mascot. Let's be
honest. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
Did you
build
see the
rage and
mascot
hate.
that shot the t-shirt cannon into his own groin?
No.
Yeah.
He plaxicoed
He's trying
himself.
to get the gun to work.
Yeah, he had to get parted off.
Was this at a Globetrotters event?
No, it was at a college football game like a few weeks ago.
Oh.
He groined himself with a t-shirt cannon point blank. Had to be carted off. It was the best thing I've ever seen.
Was it intentional?
Alistair Black.
I don't.
No.
think you do that
He was
on
trying
purpose.
to fix the gun to get to work,
Okay.
and he just decided to,
So it
There's
was
a mascot
only
here.
slightly better and less stupid than the Plaxico Burress thing where he took a gun into a nightclub in his sweatpants and shot himself.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Did he ever play another football game?
I have no idea. I mean, that was better than the Titus O'Neil trip into the under the ring. That was
He
just
was on my fantasy team that year.
Plaxico wasn't nice.
He got what? He got a couple lucky interceptions in the Super Bowl and tried to be a big deal and ended up shooting himself
In a nightclub.
His career was over. By the way, on Impact right now, LAX and not LAX is having a match, and it's a bare ring match. It's just like the pieces of plywood or the boards, the planks. There's no canvas or anything, and it's a really bad idea. And the planks are moving around, and there's gaps in the ring.
You've got homicide.
They're not small guys. This is a bad idea.
Do you think that's spurred from the Gargano and Ciampa match at Takeover?
Probably.
Yes.
I was thinking about that, but Gargano, Ciampa did it better.
That's because Gargano's from Cleveland, and everyone from Cleveland does things better.
All you do is talk
Johnny
trash about
fucking
them.
wrestling.
I know, like the Browns.
Yeah, well, they had a great day, didn't they?
It was pretty amazing.
Do you remember when Bill Belichick
NFL
was the coach of the Browns?
Sons of bitches.
NFL's here. NFL's been here this weekend.
I think it's coming next weekend as well, isn't it?
Fuck's sake. You can keep it.
Look, there's
You
more.
heard me.
There's more Cleveland Browns fans in England than in Cleveland. They
You know, like-
love the Browns in England for some reason. I have no idea why.
Because I think they're brown coats or something.
Especially in Leeds and Liverpool. I don't know why.
Whoa. Let's not start with later. Come on.
Leeds
Well,
and
I'm just
Liverpool,
saying.
what's the difference?
So does Blackpool have a big what's his bucket? Lord Regal? Is there a big statue of
William Regal.
Lord William Regal in
There
Blackpool?
should be. No, it's just a shithole. It's
Ah.
just a giant cesspit of humanity.
Okay.
Meatloaf,
Yeah.
what part of England do you like?
Looking out the window at
This
it?
isn't supposed to be a difficult question.
Did you know one time we were
Like if
doing
you said, "Hey, Justin, what
Let's-
part of
let's
America
stop
do
it.
you like?" I'd say, "Oh, I really like Austin, Texas. Asheville, North Carolina is great. Like I like
where I live
Bend,
now is,
Oregon."
like, less stabby. That's what it is. Where I live now is less stabby than where I was from and born and raised. So.
Was
That's
it
one
was
time
were you raised on Whitechapel?
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh yeah, no. I played the Yorkshire Ripper. Well, that's quite interesting. I was born at the same time he was killing people.
Wow.
Quite interesting. Yeah.
Huh.
But no, there's nice parts, but Blackpool is especially shit. I told you before, my mum was there with some friends. I want to say the 80s, and as she was getting onto the bus, she got pushed to one side, and her friend who was in front of her had 2 samurai swords put through him, and then brought back, and he died in her arms.
By a ninja.
That's
Death
Wait,
by
no, what-
ninja.
What was this? Meep, did you just say as I've told you
just a
before?
smackhead. Just a
Did you say
smackhead.
as I've told
Just
you
a-
before?
Yeah, I said that story before. No,
You never told us
I
that.
told you the story.
Wait, Byron, is this
their
their official press release for the Contender finale that you just sent me?
Yeah, so
They've spelled the Contender wrong in it twice.
yeah,
Contender.
they've had, like, 3
I'm not
days
meaning to
to
put one of your
too.
employers on blast here, Brandon, but Epix has apparently done a press release where they've spelled Contender Contendi.
That's Spanish. This is for the Spanish market.
I know, I
Yeah.
love this. I don't know if you can see this, but that clearly says the contendee right there. That does not say contender. All right, so this says that the finale is on November 9th, live, 7 p.m. Pacific. And it is at the Fabulous Forum in Los Angeles. So that is the venue that they booked. It is LA now. It is not going to be Vegas, as we previously reported 5 minutes ago. And the 2 finalists, who shall remain unnamed as of now, will go head-to-head that night. And then there'll be several other matches of contenders from the show, which should also be very exciting. And a couple of those guys really need to get a win back because a lot of those guys went in undefeated and caught some L's. So I think there's going to be still some fire on that undercard too of some guys that really want to rebound while they have the spotlight on them. So I would not expect people to be going lightly that night. You see some good fights. So that again is the November. What did I say it was?
9th. Yeah. 9th.
November 9th, and tickets are on sale.
I've just realized something quite depressing.
It's a Friday night, and that's right after the finale. That's the same as the finale of Ultima Lucha, I believe. Same week. It's going to be a big week.
Things to come. Ultima Lucha.
Good things to come.
What is up with Ultima Lucha being on Halloween?
All right, we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about the episode. I want to get to some of the episodes since I know most people come here to hear what we have to say about Lucha Underground, a show that all of us have been to or been a part of in some fashion, except for Meatloaf, because Meatloaf didn't fucking fly over, even though Eric Van Wagenen said he would reserve you a front row seat and a VIP treatment anytime you would get off your ass and get over here to a show, but somebody still didn't want to do that.
Meef, you can wrangle my cable. You can't get any closer. You know what I'm saying? You can wrangle my cable behind me. We'll figure it out.
I've actually had to do that once. just to try to keep Brandon on his feet, which is not always an easy thing to do.
I like to yank on it in the middle of shooting.
There are some dicks like the guy we blasted on Twitter this week. That he was standing. That guy was standing directly on top of a cable at one point in time. Not Brandon's cable, because that would have led to bad things for him. The believers in the bleachers would not take kindly to that. It was on the other side of the ring. The girl operator that's on the other side.
There's Karen, and then there's a Karen Redhead.
Yeah, it was Karen. Anyway, yeah. So he caught some shit for that anyway. But yeah. There's some assholes that don't really respect the fact that it's a TV taping and think that it's just some kind of free-for-all in there.
You're saying there's some assholes at a wrestling show?
Well, but surprisingly at most Lucha Underground shows, there's not too many.
No, it's a good vibe. Good vibe.
Especially considering there's no railing, everyone is extremely well behaved. And, all the carnage, people are moving around, but they're very respectful of the show.
I never really thought
of corner of like standing room and end up ringside, like grabbing someone's trunks, like trying to touch and molest all the wrestlers.
It's just because of Vampiro's looking over everything. Do you want to really piss off Vampiro?
That's true. When he's paying attention. It's happened a few times. But, I never thought about the fact that Lucha Underground does not have a railing, Byron. I've honestly never entered my mind until you just said that right now.
Yeah,
I think we do so many outside spots. I feel like a railing would just kill it.
Absolutely, it would.
Yeah.
So I think having that reckless abandon of no barriers, I feel like is perfect for our show.
Well, and if you did have them, I feel like the audience would be too far away. Like it feels too far away at AAA a lot of times, even though that railing is not very far back at AAA. It does kind of take, especially when they use the 6-sided ring. I feel like it really takes away from it how far away the people are.
And the people in the front row kind of are the railing because sometimes they're a part of the show.
Yeah, that'd be me.
My first Pentagon show was at a place, and it was in a nightclub, and I was 2 foot away from the ring. That's where my knees were, where I was sat, and he landed on me.
Oof, that's something you can tell your kids about.
I nearly died.
He didn't buy you a drink first.
Yeah,
Brandon, the last PWG show you were at, which place was that at?
It was at the American Legion 305.
Yeah, I love that place. I mean, the fans your front row is at the ring.
Yeah, no, and people pounding on as the match is going on. People are pounding on the apron. Yeah. It's just like you can't get closer than that. But you can't have a bad seat in that place either. You're sitting back row. It doesn't matter. You're still even back row is still 5 feet from the ring.
You're still going to get hit when they jump out of the ring.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome. But I wonder I don't remember seeing pictures from their new venue.
Weren't they going at the Globe? Weren't they doing something at the Globe?
Yeah.
At the Globe, right? But did they add a ringside space to work, or do you think the fans are up on the ring again?
No, they're back a little bit further at the Globe, I believe. If Jimmy was here, he could tell us, because when I didn't get to go, Jimmy still went.
All I know is that being there and looking at those cameras, I love the show, but Super Dragon needs to do some stuff about the production side of things.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
So
it's horrible.
Yeah, Super Dragon.
But
I'll change everything.
When they're raking in all the money, who cares?
Yeah, they're not going to do it.
That's part of the problem.
I was at this one indie show in Florida that I'd go to a lot, and their production was the worst. It wasn't NXT. They're great, but it was.
Hey, don't talk about my Full Sail guys over there. Come on.
Did you see that post that it says Vince McMahon's never seen an episode of NXT? Triple H
produces them. He's been at the events. I don't think he's probably watched the program, but I don't think he watches any.
But even when he goes to their events, he doesn't sit gorilla. I don't think he just doesn't watch them.
I'm sure he does.
He just watches old XFL reruns. That's the only thing he ever watches.
No, he's watching the WBF. He's watching Lex Luger in his bodybuilder league.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to talk about this episode of Lucha Underground now. That started off with Taya busting out and getting some expletives in. I like that we're to the point now in Lucha Underground where we can just get blatant expletives into the dialogue. We've gotten the F-bomb from the Mac. We've gotten, Taya using some language. I like the strong language. I mean, we're at least at a TV 14 with this show anyway. We can get some some shits and dams and assholes and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to anything on New Japan, everything is F-bomb in New Japan, you know, from Tama Tonga for the whole crew.
Right.
And it gives it a sense of realism.
Well, and especially with how cleaned up WWE has to kind of be right now. You know, they can't go back to the Attitude Era even if they wanted to at this point. So, I mean, I think it does need to be represented elsewhere. And look, Lucha Underground's a perfect place for it. So, I like the promo and Taya coming out and bringing some fire, and it got the crowd hot that night live. It worked great on the show as a cold open, and of course Antonio obliging her with a sacrifice to the gods, which I can tell you, being in the crowd, we were all immediately like, holy shit, is Taya seriously about to get sacrificed? Is there something going on backstage we don't know about? Does she have a heat with DJ? Like, what the fuck just happened? Is Taya really going to get sacrificed? So it was a great way for the whole season to build with the sacrifice thing for that moment. Because I can tell you there was genuine trepidation in the crowd that Taya was going to get sacrificed. Now on TV, I don't know if that plays or people feel that because it was the first match. I think most people kind of realized that probably wasn't going to happen. We're close to Ultima Lucha and there's going to be a run-in. But I swear to God, live, we had no fucking clue. And people genuinely thought Taya might just be getting the axe. You know, especially after the Jack Evans thing. Like, no one really saw that coming either.
Right.
Jack was the biggest guy sacrificed, right?
What's that, Meef?
I was gonna say, I think with the way it came across on TV, with it being near Ultima Lucha, it kind of was like, oh, is she gonna get sacrificed? And then it's the big revenge match at Ultima Lucha.
Yeah,
Johnny. So
I mean, that was
kind of the angle that played off well.
That was the feel. And yes, Byron, I don't know. I feel like Mr. Spectacular was maybe the biggest sacrifice.
Wait, what about the pizza guy? What about in Vinny Massaro? You don't think that was the biggest sacrifice?
Yeah, I don't know. Vinny Massaro is more over after his sacrifice than he was before it. So I think Vinny is fine. That might have been the best sacrifice of the whole season because
that was
a great match.
Who else? Oh no, it was Ricky Reyes. Ricky Reyes is definitely the biggest name that got sacrificed for sure. Yeah. You don't have a comment, Byron.
You know it's not. You know what's kind of. I don't know what happened, but he has two matches where he just gets nerfed by Matanza. One of them, he has a broken arm where Matanza breaks the cast and breaks the arm again. And then the next match, Matanza sacrifices him.
You know, maybe they had heat backstage or something. Maybe he, left a rotten sandwich in Cobb's locker or something. I don't know.
What does Cobb have to do with this?
I don't know.
Exactly. You're talking about Matanza.
I mean, I think that Cobb has a hotline to Matanza that he can call in favors.
Oh.
No, okay. Clearly, Jack Evans was the one that nobody thought was going to happen because he's not a guy. It's especially because he's not a guy that you would imagine would get re-gimmicked some other way.
Right.
Like, why would you ever re-gimmick him? So, thusly, sacrificing him, I think, took people off guard. Like other people, like a Ricky Reyes, yeah, okay, you can sacrifice Ricky Reyes. He could still have a job and show up three weeks later under a hood, and do something credible or maybe even better. Maybe his character as whatever his Castro just ran its course, and then they give him something else. But yeah, for Jack Evans, it's like, holy shit, what the hell's going on here? And I still don't even entirely know, but I don't know if Jack entirely knows.
No, I don't think Jack knows his future very well. I think he's just taking it day by day, paycheck by paycheck, and he'll find a way. He'll find a way.
He's making strides. He has a working cell phone at one point, I heard.
Yeah, and as long as he can find his visa, then I think he'll be in good shape.
I think it's a combo cell phone vape.
It is.
Anybody who can wrestle with a cigarette in their mouth and keep it in there for the entire match.
But he still has to get paid cash, right?
Of course.
Work a check.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Taya Matanza match wasn't bad. I'll say though that the second she got in there with Matanza, I was really hoping for shades of that Taya cage match that is still to this day one of my favorite Lucha Underground matches, but it definitely didn't quite go there. Yeah. but she's good wrestling against those kind of powerhouse guys. Like she looks really good in there with those kind of guys, and there's not a whole lot of women that can say that.
And she looks like $1 million, and she can take the best. She can take the heavy hits, and you don't have to. Something like what I like about Ty is she protects herself, but she's not like overly, she's not,
prima donna.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, she can take the hits. So that's why I think pairing her up with Matanza, it just works.
Yeah. And he's really clean too. Go ahead, Meef.
I was going to say she's one of those females who likes to, she goes to the guys and goes, right, you hit me as hard, if not harder, than you hit everybody else.
There's also there's some female wrestlers that are good technically and they're in good shape, but they don't look strong enough to go against a proper male heavyweight. You know, like she can go, hit with hit against like Brian Cage, and it looks believable.
Right.
Whereas you might have someone who's a little bit, smaller built and doesn't look as strong, doesn't look as believable. She's really good. I mean, I was thrilled when she first showed up. I think the whole first season we were just waiting every single week. We're like, I hope she shows up this week. And then when she finally showed up, second season, we were so stoked.
I think that point in time was honestly, of her career, some of the best stuff that I saw her do. In general, and I do feel like she's headed back there right now too. We'll see. I mean, she's probably getting ready to come up right now on Impact. Or did she already go?
She already had her match. It was a good match. She lost to a top rope codebreaker, but it was a good match.
I'll have to go and watch.
No, I don't watch a whole lot of Impact. Do they do the whole intergender thing as well, or is Lucha kind of its own thing where?
It has happened in Impact, but it is much rarer. They have the Knockouts division, and most of the women stay firmly in the Knockouts division, but I don't think that they have a rule against it. It's just...
You had ODB.
I really have to interrupt you guys right now because I'm watching Impact, and Allie just took an axe to Sue Young's neck.
An axe?
Literally, they were having
not an axe kick, an actual axe. They're having a rubber axe, an axe fight.
There was no blood, but they were having an axe fight. Kiera Hogan was in a casket.
That's Hulk Hogan's niece.
Well, he wouldn't admit to it.
Of course not.
Yeah, he wouldn't like to say she's his niece.
He's from Tampa, But someone on Impact Wrestling got axed in the front of the neck.
You need to get ratings, Byron. So the first thing you go to is not write better storylines or get better performers. You just bring in an axe.
Right, because when you advertise axe wound match, people will watch.
Yeah, they're like, how is this?
It's terrible. It's a long way to go for that. Thanks for the setup, Byron. Long way to go for the joke.
Yeah, I had in my horror movie that I made. Oh no, she's back. There's a weird.
Did you make a horror movie, Byron? Did you make a horror movie? I've never heard.
He made a horrible movie.
Sounds like he made a sex tape.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
No, actually, Byron's movie, The Bates Haunting. Is that what it's still called?
The Bates Haunting. Yeah,
it's actually fairly good. If you haven't seen it, I believe you can still watch it on Amazon Prime.
Are you on? Is it on iTunes? Oh, is it on iTunes?
iTunes, probably Amazon Prime. It's from a while ago.
I don't know if it's still Prime. I know I watched it for free once, but now you might have to pay for it on Amazon. I think it's like a $3.99 rental.
I gotta get into that because my distributor, I distributed a film last year called Ryan. I did. My first feature called Ryan Baxter Reenactor, and we put it on iTunes last year. But my distributor, has kind of dropped the ball a couple times, and we're just on iTunes.
I think iTunes is the worst one. Like you brag that legitimizes you, but you want to be on the easy ones. You want to be on the on-demand stuff like the cable, the home VOD like Comcast sort of. Right. You want to be on Redbox. You want to be
the ones where people will trip over it, see some good cover art, and get it anyway.
Well, actually, the one good thing they did, we just sold to China, but they sold to Meef would know this, Sky TV. It aired on Sky TV.
Oh, yeah.
But it was in New Zealand.
Oh, cool.
It was New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, Murdoch owns Sky, doesn't he? Rupert Murdoch owns the world of media.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. Rupert Murdoch's a great guy, Meatloaf.
He's a fucking dick.
That's the only reason why I said that, just because I wanted you to call him a dick.
So Brandon, all the listeners of this show, if they want to see your movie, they could see your movie right now.
Yes, you can see it on iTunes. Ryan Baxter, reenactor. Take a look at the trailer. It's a mockumentary about television show reenactment actors, and shot it all here locally in Salt Lake, and used a lot of Salt Lake talent. But I funded, produced, wrote, directed the whole thing, and shot about 75–80% of it myself. And it was my first go at doing a feature film, and just wanted to put it out there and see how it stuck. And I think we had the lowest buys ever on an iTunes movie. I think at 9, and I think that's mostly like my parents buying extra copies of it.
I don't even think Byron's parents bought his, so I think you're doing better than Byron.
Right.
Oh, my parents were, I would say, polite about watching my movie.
And raising you.
They were very kind about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, at least you guys are out there trying stuff. I always have appreciation for people who are actually just going out there and doing it. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell people that they have to go watch Casey's Ninja Short movie, which I don't remember the name of, that he wrote. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it, and I love Casey's short.
What happened to Casey? I feel like Casey was a mainstay, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
Well, Casey, Casey has a real life and like 3 jobs now. He's also at a very good tasting dinner this evening, so that we can't begrudge him because he's doing.
Why was he gone?
Does he wear the gloves all the time? Does he wear the Pentagon gloves like all the time?
Yes. He hasn't been on camera for a while either, though, because he's got this really loud AC at his place. So, like, even when he comes on the show, it's usually just audio only. So I don't know what gloves he's wearing these days. Yeah.
Why wasn't he on the show last week, Justin?
Why wasn't he on the show last week? Because I believe he believes that Marty the Moth is a paper champion.
Yeah, he's scared of Marty. He'll talk shit when Marty's not around, and then when Marty comes on the show, he's like, "Guys."
Well, I don't want Marty to be offended because he's probably watching this right now or listening to it. Even I don't know if he got this far in the show, but yeah, I don't know.
I've always had a spot in my heart as well for Marty when I knew him as Martin Casas.
Casaus.
Because I did the Stone Cold season of Tough Enough.
Ooh.
And Martin, I didn't talk to the producers or Brad or anything, but
the unofficial winner, Martin Casaus.
Yeah, that was the whole vibe. Is like no one out and out said it, but like Martin was the guy. Martin was the guy. And then he hurt his hip or his leg or something like that, and I was the one that actually took him on camera to the hospital. And it was just like this guy had everything. Like he had the competition won. In my opinion, he had the competition won, and then it all comes crashing down in like 15 minutes, and I'm there right in his face.
I gotta say though,
there when Matt Cross got told off by Stone Cold, I was this close on Matt Cross's face as he's like saying, "No, don't do it, Steve, don't kick me off." And it was like, to this day, it's one of the hardest things I've ever shot in my life because it was just like a tear was like coming out of his eye. But look at him now.
But he's just got to toughen up. Come on, it's called toughen up. Just be tougher.
It's a rough business.
It is.
Casey's favorite wrestler.
But at the same time, as much as I like Matt Cross, he did not deserve to win. Not at that point in his career. Not at that stage. He was a little too green and he was a little soft for the business. And actually, honestly, to this day, he is a little bit too. I mean, it's a hard business, and he's a nice guy.
So were you pulling for skid mark?
No, I mean, I was Martin was my guy, and after that, I didn't give a crap. Like the whole time, it was like, oh, look at this kind of chubby kid getting in here, and just like from the very beginning of it, it was like, oh my God, he is just turning it on. Like every time you would watch, you would be like, that guy's got something. He's got a star power. I don't know that if he had won, though, it would have been a good thing, especially with where WWE was in general at that time. I don't know that any of them could have won and really succeeded. It just wasn't.
Look at the winner, Andy Levine. He won, and then I think he got popped for something, unfortunately. But
yeah,
and then it was over. He had like one excerpt on Raw where I told Eric that Stone Cold should say "Welcome to WWE," and then give him a stunner. And that's actually what happened. Yeah. I'm not saying it was my idea. I'm saying it was probably going to happen anyway, but I might as well tell Eric, you know.
And then take credit for it if you can, because that's,
you Stone Cold did that a lot. Did he keep doing it after you told him to do it? After you told Stone Cold to do that?
He turned it into a whole gimmick. It was a thing.
But, you know, I think looking back, and sadly what happened to Andy, you know, I wish a Matt Cross would have won.
Right.
You know?
But see, at that time, I don't know. Like now, if there was a time machine and that was happening now, and he was that age now, he could get over in WWE. You've got NXT, you've got other guys of that level. There's more respect for indie workers and that indie mentality. Back then, it still wasn't quite there yet. I mean, Randy Orton was still on a run back then.
It was to win over Vince personally, right?
What's that?
How would Matt Cross is a sweetheart? I've talked to him a little bit, but how would he earn Vince McMahon's personal respect?
Well, he never could because of the height, but because he's kind of around my height, maybe a smidge short. He's probably in the 5'9" range, 5'8", 5'9". But his physique is amazing. What's that?
Yeah,
I'm 5'7". He's smaller than me.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
He's younger than him too.
He's like 5'6".
But at that time, it was still a you know, obviously they have 205 Live and NXT where they kind of banish the smaller guys. But at that time, it was still just, it wasn't a coincidence that Andy won. He was the largest man on set, and they kept saying, "Oh, he's going to be the new Taker," which is just a kill. Like that'll kill you right away.
Yeah,
but that was the
don't want to be that.
No, everyone who is the new Taker.
The Taker is still the new Taker as far as him or Vince is concerned.
Yeah.
Now that note, like Abyss just got inducted into the TNA Impact Hall of Fame, I think yesterday.
Who did?
And Abyss.
Oh yeah.
And he had a legit attempt or possibility of going to WWE and feuding with Taker and going that route.
But even Abyss, if you look at Abyss, not that big compared to some of these guys. Like I worry about Cross going there because, you know, Cross looks Kevin Cross looks really intimidating and mean in all these other promotions. And you put him in WWE and like he's the same size as, you know, Elias.
Yeah.
You know, who's a big guy and he looks like he can bruise some people, but you know, he's not a standout at that point in time. So then you have to have something else extra. You know, you have to be bringing something else with you. You have to have that charisma. You have to be able to get over because you got Baron Corbin's and you've got Elias and you've got all these other guys that are they're all that size. Like, you know, Sheamus doesn't look that huge compared to some of these guys, but I saw him in the airport and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is like 3 men.
But it's size doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter. It's all about the performance. Like my favorite promotion other than Lucha Underground is New Japan.
Right.
And all those guys are probably just below 6 feet, but they're the best workers in the business and they do some of the most exciting stuff in the whole business. So I just think that whole WWE thing, they just want those big guys and there's nothing wrong with that, but they lose a lot of talent, I feel, in pushing guys because they're not 6'8".
Well, and I think that's part of why I like what they've done in kind of creating different brands. I like the fact that they've just let Triple H have his NXT or whatever, because I think at least he's one person that does recognize that they're, whether he cares about those guys or not, I don't know, but I think he at least realizes that other people are making money off of that. So why shouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know, and why shouldn't they have something that represents that, whether it's Vince's favorite thing or not, whether those guys ever get pushed to the moon or not? They basically own their own indie and can represent that style. And they do a great job of it. I mean, people, you know, indie wrestling fans love NXT and it totally works.
Do you think once Vince in, 115 years, when Vince finally passes, do you think Triple H is going to make the smaller guys more of a mainstay?
On the big show, I don't know if he can or should. If you really look at the numbers and you look at what people expect from wrestling, I hate to say it, but Vince still isn't wrong. Real wrestling fans can talk about how crappy WWE is all day long, but it still gets those numbers. It still gets those asses in the seat. They're still not doing it wrong when you look at the overall satisfaction level that the customers have with the product. It's still there. They're just not the vocal customers. They're not the internet customers. They're not the smart marks. They're just the average guy in Iowa who puts a butt in a seat every 2 times WWE comes to town. They go out to Des Moines. They buy the fucking $200 ticket for them and the 5 kids. They they buy the merchandise. They buy the Bailey I'm a Hugger t-shirt. They buy the fucking Roman Reigns t-shirt because Roman Reigns still sells a shit ton of t-shirts. Smart fans fucking hate him, and smart fans haven't bought a single t-shirt yet, but yet the guy outsells everybody. So you can't say Vince is wrong. You can't say he was wrong about
right now on Impact they have the main event with Johnny Impact and Aries. And the ring announcer in the suit standing in between them looks bigger and thicker than both of them.
Well, John Morrison is even as beefy and as cut up as he is, he's actually a normal sized guy. I mean, if you remember him back on WWE, he was one of the smaller dudes on the roster at the time.
Yeah.
And he dwarfs me. He's got to be at least 6'2". He has to be. Right?
I think he's 6. He goes 6'1", 220 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but Justin, I agree with you. WWE is that type of product where it's like a Saturday morning cartoon thing. I mean, the big appeal to going to a WWE event is you could take your son. He's gonna love the fact that John Cena walked out and said some stuff, and he's gonna want to wear a John Cena shirt and wristband.
And they gotta look the part to a certain extent. When you're in a room that seats 14,000 people, which they are 2 or 3 nights a week, and you're sitting up in that second rafter, you want to still literally be able to see the guy and have the guy standing in the ring look bigger than the guy sitting in the row right behind him, And
we argue about Gargano, and I think he's a bigger star on the main scene than you do. But I remember being at an NXT show, and Johnny's in the ring. I'm outside the ring and sitting on like second row bleachers. I'm sort of floor height, and I feel like I'm still taller than him.
Yeah, Gargano's not big, man.
Like he's 5'6" dude in real life, but on camera, they make him bigger than life.
Well, he's got a good personality, and I love Johnny Gargano.
That brings it up. I mean, I know you can't teach height. I know that. Okay, but Gargano, he's like the one. He's had one 5-star match in WWE of how many, there's been 8, maybe 5 to 8 5-star matches in WWE.
A couple.
And I don't think Big Cass has had any. So I don't
Big Cass. Oh
I think it's great. Someone's height is fine for getting people in the building. I get it, but I want to see a Canadian destroyer. And a 7-footer is not doing a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah,
true. See some technical wrestling.
Well,
not just clotheslines and running the ropes, which you get. I mean, the big guys are fine. It's a special attraction, but the thing is, like Justin was saying, WWE, it's a product. It's this, and that's all. It sells, so they don't give a fuck. Basically, as much as we all want to see a better product.
I think they give a fuck. I just don't think they give a fuck about the same thing that the average, smart fan, and I won't say smart mark, I'll say smart fan does. I don't think they care about the same things anymore. And I think for a while during the Attitude Era, when WWE product won a lot of people over, they did care about the same things, which were being edgy, breaking new ground, having matches that were exciting, having characters that broke the mold of the 80s cartoonish WWE. I think there was a better symbiosis between the fan and the creators of the product then, because they were literally on the same page. But I think that now the average fan and the smart fan and the company are all kind of at odds. I think there's a lot of people that want a different thing. And I don't even know that all of us would agree. Like, if we had our druthers about what WWE would turn into, I don't know if we'd all even agree what that would be.
But the thing with WWE is basically it's a product. That's all it is now. It's a company that makes a product.
Correct. Well, it went public. It went public.
It
has to be.
Yeah. So that's all it needs. That's all it's doing. It's going through a thing. And the thing is basically, oh god, I forgot my point now. Damn you.
Kayfabe is dead. That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah. I had a marvelous point.
I want to interrupt
T-shirt
again on
thing.
this Impact match. They're doing something really interesting. They're sort of, I mean, these two guys have been working a shoot sort of Twitter heat against each other. And I don't know, for my money, it's all a work. Oh, now my cat's
I mean, you really wait, you really think it's a work? Like, you think Mundo would let him say that stuff about Taya?
Yeah.
I don't think he agreed to that. Maybe he agreed to doing a work shoot, but I don't think he agreed to the content of aforementioned work shoot.
I guess that all depends on the Impact ratings, how low they are.
I don't know.
I bet he eats avocados.
I think.
What did he say about Taya? He said she was chubby or
he said something. By the way, Taya is on the rebound from that condition, which was a health condition, and she's on the upswing. So it's like, you know, she doesn't even look like she did last week. Like, I don't know how much she would take that personally when she's doing great now. But their match,
he hears that shit on the internet constantly anyway. No female performer doesn't hear every wrong thing that they never wanted to hear in their life if they're a popular female performer. That's just the honest reality. But at the same time, for another worker, and you know, Aries has caught shit from other people backstage about his honesty and straightforwardness being very inappropriate at times. I mean, this would not be a first.
He said some other stuff too, but they're working this really heated match where they're doing like it's very non-cooperative, you know. And I saw, but it's heated non-cooperative. Like, I saw Low-Key and Daga have a match at this place for MLW where it looked like Low-Key didn't want to do anything Daga wanted to do, and they just did stiff chops back and forth.
Wait, isn't that the one where Daga walked away all fucked up in the ear or whatever?
Yeah, they did a bad gimmick ending where Low-Key ripped off Daga's ear, and it was really bad, and there's fake blood. It was dumb. It was really dumb. Like, why would Daga, who's super tough and good at fighting, have his ear ripped off, let his ear get ripped off, and then not do anything but just lie on the ground for 10 minutes afterwards instead of get up and do something about it? Anyway, that was dumb. And the match was awful. But these guys are having one of those matches where they're working some spots in, but they're also not cooperating with each other a little bit. So it looks kind of like a cluster, but real and intense. It's interesting.
Well, so you sound intrigued. So that means it's working, regardless of work or shoot.
Okay.
I mean, and that's always my thing is I don't care if it's a work or a shoot as long as it's entertaining and I want to watch it. All right, let me get back to Lucha Underground because we left it so long ago.
Do you want to see the real face of Lucha Underground? Keisha.
Yeah.
Come here. Come here.
The real face of Lucha Underground.
This is the real face of Lucha Underground. Come here, Don. It's okay. Everything's fine. They're good. They're good people. You can just come here.
Reasonably good people.
Do you remember this face from the cutaways?
There it is.
The face, right?
I've seen that before.
Okay, get out of here.
Okay, back.
You're scooping my heat.
Stealing all your heat. Oh, we're going to get to your heat. All right, so Stryker gave us finally the first rundown of things we were going to see at Ultima Lucha 4. That involved Mundo versus Matanza Cueto.
We got to finish the episode, right?
I'm talking about this. This is part of the episode. This happened second in the episode as Stryker did his first rundown of everything you're going to see at Ultima Lucha 4 this year.
What are we going to see at Ultima Lucha 4 this year?
On Halloween. We'll talk about that. So Mundo versus Matanza has been announced. Son of Havoc versus Killshot in a apuestas match for their masks. Penta versus the Moth in a Cierro Miedo match, which should be gross. Mill versus Mac in a death match. And Daj, Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Phoenix in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I got to say, out of all of these, that's the most brilliant thing on here as a gimmick is just give me more of those guys doing whatever the fuck it is that they do. Because Phoenix Dark, Phoenix Black, Evil Phoenix, whatever the hell you want to call this new Phoenix, Zombie Phoenix.
Phoenix Dark.
Absolutely the best incarnation of that guy ever in any promotion. Even this match tonight, which was just kind of a bridge, a stopgap, bad go home show kind of match. Even that still just absolutely fire everything he did. And
I have my beef with Phoenix Dark.
oh, what's your beef with Phoenix Dark? I like this.
Well, he kicked me in the head.
Well, he sure did. And in this match, Phoenix Dark, who is Phoenix is working the stiffest he has ever worked. Not crisp, not hard, not rough, but fucking just flat out stiff.
Yeah.
He is throwing rough stuff, which is fine because some of these guys are totally cool with that. I think Dragon Azteca, especially, him and Phoenix have worked out some great stuff this season, and they have no trouble going at each other super, super hard.
Mm-hmm.
And even in this quick little match, that was happening. Mac was taking some great bumps, and then a spot with Phoenix and Mac happens where and you had no reason to believe that you were in any kind of harm's way because I've never seen Phoenix do this before, but he did like this little 619 in the corner.
Yeah, it was like I had no idea it was coming, obviously, and it was like a reverse 619. Like I thought he kicked me with his toe, but it was actually his heels coming around. No idea.
Which absolutely amazing. I think I have some footage of it here. Let me see if I can play you this footage. I think you'll love this.
Can you do that? Do we have the technology to do that? Do you have playback on here?
I may have some rough playback capabilities if I can find the actual clip here.
It's a great role, though. It's a great role.
Thank you.
It is. I think you did a fabulous job.
I did catch some shit from joking shit from people that say, I didn't sell it. But I was there for a job, and
there's still work to be done.
Yeah.
You did a backflip.
Yeah, full on backflip.
I mean, you took the bump, first of all. Like,
and to be honest with you,
they can't ask for
like
too much.
The camera.
I fell on the camera.
He hits the camera.
No, I had.
Like you get you in the head.
Oh yeah, I had a big welt right here for about at least a week and a half. It was all scraped and bruised for about a week and a half.
I mean, I wasn't even watching the match after that. I was looking at you, and I was looking over at Vampiro and trying to catch EV Dub's eye. Like, do you guys need to get Brandon out? Like, I'll come operate if you need somebody to camera. Like, Byron's right here; he can operate. But like, do we need to get Brandon for medical attention? Because I didn't want you to be out there like toughing it out for no reason. Like me and Byron and Jimmy, I think we're all sitting, not the bleachers. We were just to the right of the bleachers that time. But we were on the floor, and we saw and it was everything in me. I was like up out of my seat, about to run over there and throw up the big X and get you some help because I didn't know if anybody saw it.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I have a oversized German double thick head, and this finally came into being a good thing in my life.
All right, let me show this footage here if I can. Let me see if this actually works here. This is
the circle.
There's no sound on it, but this is the spot.
Right side of the screen.
There it is. No, it's up big. Here we go.
And that's I couldn't see color for a couple days, but it was
I mean, bam! Just full heels right in the dome.
Just look at that roll, perfectly over the back. See, the thing is, like I said, when you see it from the angle, it looks like he kind of kicks the camera and makes you fall back.
Yeah.
So the no selling, you can get away with it that way, if you know what I mean.
But I mean, you're literally up and you're there. You have the shot at the end. There you are. There you are with the shot. You're back in business 100% there. I got to watch this one more time because there's one other thing.
Oh, it's been on a constant loop. My wife just has it on her TV like all the time.
Bam! Rolls all the way over, back up on the feet. But now look at the believers. They're all applauding. Everyone back there is chanting. And, I mean, that was the biggest pop of the night.
It's quite possibly my favorite moment in my own history. And I've had 2 kids, And, he hit me. It was unexpected. He hit me, and I just kind of knocked out for half a second. And I realized my feet, I tripped on my own feet basically and fell backwards. And next thing I know, I'm looking at my feet as they're in the air. And I'm thinking like, I'm just going to power through and do a roll. And my hand never left the lens of the camera. So when I got on my feet, my hand was still in the hand holder, and so I just popped it back up with one hand and kept going. I got a job to do, you know.
And protected the equipment, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the camera was fine too. I mean, you're standing up at the end of that thing, racking the focus back, and you're just right back in. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what the hell is going on?
3 seconds after I recovered, I think they cut to my shot of them in the corner post.
Now, this was also pretty early in the evening of the double taping, right? This was the first episode of the 2 that were taped that day, right?
My memory has been spotty since then. So I don't recall. I realized, we still had to, it was before intermission.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So,
there was a lot of show left. There was like a whole another 2.5 hours of shoulder time left for you at least.
Yeah, at least. But it was great. It was, at that moment, did I want to be a pro wrestler? And did I think about, hey, maybe somebody has some spared trunks in the back, and I can make this is my moment. This is my time. Maybe Del Rio had something back there that he left here.
I'm sure he left a lot of things because he left very abruptly.
He did. But it was great. I got obviously assaulted, but it was worth it. People afterwards are taking pictures with me and everything, and I had a little glimmer of what their life is like, and it felt great. I had the chant going they were chanting "Camera Guy" for 10 seconds or so, and it was amazing.
Well, we've officially given you your new MMMshow name. You are Brandon Bumpcam.
Nice, I like it.
There it is. You're Brandon Bumpcam.
I think I'm gonna talk to Eric. I sent him an email asking if I could take a bump every season, so it could be its own spot every season. I told him I want to go through a table next year.
There it is.
You should work an angle where you're always grabbing at Phoenix's feet in matches.
Now,
does that mean I need to go to WWE?
Yeah, exactly. You might have to if you want that. No, but it is customary when you get potatoed like that you get to send a receipt. So the real question is, will Evie Dub and DJ give you a chance to get back at Phoenix for the aforementioned knock to the head?
Something's. It's either going to happen. It might happen in the parking lot off camera, but yeah, they're going to figure something out.
Yeah,
they're going to treat me.
Wrestler's court, baby. Take him to wrestler's court.
That's how they write Phoenix off if he leaves.
Wouldn't that be great?
Brandon Bumpcam takes him out, man.
With all the story and character work going on, they have a camera guy actually kill Phoenix.
And then I'm on him, and then I roll the iris, so he just slowly blacks out, and he's gone.
Have you seen Peeping Tom? That movie, the old movie Peeping Tom?
No.
It's your life story, isn't it?
It's an old thriller. It's really good, but it's about this guy, this camera guy. Well, he's like a AC in the motion pictures, but he does these movies in his private time. Meatloaf knows, and so he'll grab one every night and he'll film them. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to capture the the really intense, pure look of fear in someone's eyes. So what he'll do is he'll put up a camera next to the lens so they see their face, and then with the tripod, he sticks the leg up forward and pulls off a sheath, and it's a spike, and it'll stab someone in the neck while they watch themselves die.
Byron, you should.
Disney movie?
Huh?
No, I'm sure I've seen this actually.
Dear Lord, Byron,
Yeah.
if you ever wondered why the restraining orders keep coming, you may want to change the style of movies that you watch. I'm just saying.
A great movie.
All right.
How old is it? How old is Peeping Tom?
It's on YouTube.
It's old enough to be pirated on YouTube.
No, it's legitimately on YouTube.
Oh, hey, I just got, let's see. I don't know if I will be in town, but maybe I will be. On November 3rd is the debut show for LA Lucha, and we just got extended a media pass for that. So hopefully either me or Jim or Casey or one of us LA people will get out to that show on November 3rd. Interested to see what they got going on. A lot of other guys that go to Lucha Underground, and friends of ours and colleagues are kind of involved over there with that. So good luck to them, and I hope they all have a good show, and hopefully I can make it out. I'd definitely be curious to see it.
Are they scooping our heat? They scooping our heat?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more like they're trying to do a regular LA Lucha Libre style promotion that's just kind of more of a local indie.
Amazing. Great.
to give people another place to go and work. And I think it's more in respect to Lucha Underground of like trying to keep that vibe going on a smaller level year round, you know, especially for a lot of the locals who would absolutely attend something like that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Do they
and
need a TV crew?
basically 4 weeks of Lucha a year is not quite enough.
Do they need a TV crew?
I don't know what their plans are for that. I think they'll probably, of course, tape the show, but I don't know if they have any aspirations to go that big yet. I think you need to get through your first couple of shows first before you decide if you want to start spending that kind of money on a real production.
Do they need a British Antonio Quota? I can do that.
This is the point in time when Casey would jump in with the Papa Cueto. Anyway, so back to Lucha Underground. So Famous B and Brenda. There's just really never enough Famous B for me. Yeah. And Brenda and her comedic timing. Actually, I don't know how to get a read on Holly. If she's really that funny, if it's all genuine, like she so lives the whole thing that she's doing. Because you talk to her not on camera and she's kind of like that. I don't know. But it is absolutely hysterical. I don't know if it's comedic genius, if it's actually just who she is or what, but it plays so perfectly.
I don't think it's that far of a stretch. Wonderful, wonderful girl. I think she's fantastic. And I think she's in the perfect role for her personality.
Yeah, you know, they say write what you know, Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, I think she does know how to play it for laughs. I think she does have actually very, very good timing. But I do think a lot of it is actually herself, which is.
Have you ever called 423 Get Fame?
I have.
Yeah.
I was one of the early folks to do that.
I've never even done it. I've worked on the show for 4 seasons, never called it.
You can call and Famous it'll be on there, and then you leave him a message, and then you have to beg to get Famous. He heard our call, in fact, and then came on the show.
Did he really?
Yeah. 423 Get Fame works, people. Give it a ring. Call it up.
Amazing.
Apparently,
amazing.
He looks like Pele.
Anyway, so the Brenda Famous B segment was great. Famous B has retained a new client himself and decided to strap up the boots again. And Ricky Mandel, a.k.a. Ricky Creepy, or whatever the hell he's calling himself these days.
Ricky.
Sex doll man.
Yeah.
Dollfucker.
Ricky Dollfucker, decided to answer that challenge and proceeded to do bad things to be. We might
I think the gimmick's working, though. I was unsure about the doll gimmick, but ever since, once it goes through posts and everything, I think it really works. I think it's a fun.
Well, he got the best murder of the season. So there's always that. He'll always have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I like Ricky because Ricky is actually really quiet on set, and he kind of sets him off he's off to the side by himself, just kind of observing. So I think giving him this doll angle, I think, was perfect because he's kind of a loner, I feel. Oh no, did we lose Justin?
He sneezed.
Maybe hotel thing.
I found his weird thing with the hand this episode a bit.
I love the Ricky.
The microphone. Waving the microphone like that one.
Was he?
Yeah. But I remember we had a small conversation,
like
and he was talking to me about the doll. He's like, is it dumb? Is it just not working? I'm like, no, man, it's working. I love the doll angle. It's great. But
I love the foreshadowing on it too, where they teased it a season prior.
But see, and that's what you should do when you have a mid-level guy that he's not crucial to something else. And this is where DJ is brilliant. Ricky Mandel's not crucial to anything going on in Lucha Underground. You can take a guy like that or Vinny Massaro or whatever, and you can plan something for them for a long time because it's not going to get fucked up by some other program.
Mm-hmm.
And this long, slow burn with Ricky is the way to get a guy like that over. That's the only way you're going to do it. You got to do something outrageous and crazy, and you got to think it through. And I think DJ has done that with this particular gimmick, whether you like it or not, but it doesn't matter Because if you don't, it's only there for this amount of screen time. It's not screwing up any of the top of the card. It's not screwing up your favorites or anything like that. And it gives him a great resource. And then you can see, like, does this guy really work? It's why Elias is so over in WWE right now.
Mm-hmm.
They took the time. They let him do the thing. They played with it a little bit, let him cut the promos. And now it's down to a science, and it's so fucking over.
I think one of the best moments all year was, 2 weeks ago in Seattle with when they were booing.
Right.
He and Kevin Owens. It was like 5-10 minutes of solid booing. And I was just like, that is pure heat. Pure heat.
Pure heat. And then there's other times when he'll go in and work the room for pops and then just turn on them, and it still gets all the heat in the world. And it's genius. It's exactly what you want. And they just need to figure out how to really put it on a t-shirt. Because I don't know if Walk with Elias is really selling like hotcakes yet as a t-shirt, but
have you seen their t-shirts? Their t-shirts are fucking dreadful now.
Well, yeah, but they still gotta sell them.
I know. They're like the same format.
In this household, in the Haber Mansion, the face of Lucha Underground, that is her favorite wrestler, is Elias. So Elias is over in Haber Mansion. So
I love Elias too.
What's that?
I hated him in NXT.
I hated the Drifter. I hated the Drifter. Just drifting in the background. I just didn't get it. Didn't get it. But I feel like he's such a commodity now. He's such a good heel that in the past year, well, let's just say past 6 months, we've seen him in the ring actually performing 3-4 times, maybe.
Yeah.
That's the best career to have, though. I mean, he's not getting all beat up like these other guys, and he's still getting all the heat in the world. Now all he's got to do is make sure he sells some T-shirts, and he's over for the rest of time.
I just want the Halloween episode. If there is a Halloween episode, I just want him to dress up as Macho Man because he is a doppelganger. He truly is.
They need to have the next face of WWE dress as Vanilla Ice on the Halloween episode again.
Yeah,
because
John Cena did it justice. Did you guys talk about? We're off topic here, but did you talk about John Cena's hair already on this program?
Oh, we haven't.
I thought that John Cena recently just looks weird.
Crazy weird, right?
JBL hair.
It's not. It's the hair, and then he's still yoked, but his body's shrinking, but his head's still staying the same size. He looks very weird to me now. But he's also getting old.
If they don't run with that, if he doesn't pop in for the Halloween episode dressed as JBL, it would be absolutely amazing. Although I do think that flying him all the way to Australia was an injustice for that pay-per-view to have him in the match for literally like a minute and a half in front of those people. But
he's also a little bit rusty, and I mean, it's like, look, do you send him to get the pop and make the people feel like they got something, because he's a huge star or whatever, or do you leave him out of it because he's not really ready to go? I mean,
was he in Japan already? Because he's been training in Japan, hasn't he? Or China?
China, with Jackie Chan. And he debuted the sixth move of Doom or whatever.
Yeah. The push.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was the right call, but it's still. I find everything about Cena these days to be odd.
It was odd. It seemed like when people said the rumors that Ultimate Warrior had died, and there was another person that was in place of Ultimate Warrior. It kind of seemed like the same situation. I'm not quite sure that's John Cena.
I don't know. I mean, I felt that way when we ran into him in a grocery store, but it was him.
Was he just loading up on protein?
He was in a full suit in the women's hygiene department, looking like to maybe buy something, but then didn't.
Was it a gigantic chalk stripe purple suit?
It was close.
Anyway, so think about him and Nikki Bella. Do you think that whole breakup is real, or is that gimmick? I think it's gimmick. I think.
You think it's gimmick? Because they already did that angle, though. They're going to do it twice? Because they broke up and got back together, right?
I feel like it's a shoot that turned into a work. I think that he generally does have some issues with the whole thing and doesn't entirely want to do it. But then now he's making it seem like it's her.
But what I've read let's really get into this. What I've read is they were always still together. You know?
I don't think well, and people said that because they were both at the house still.
Yeah, but it's a big enough house. You could probably fit.
That's what I'm saying. It's
whoever
huge.
seats
We
up.
live in Beverly Hills. It's fucking huge.
Hmm.
I don't know. But see, then this is what's interesting about the wrestling business. You never know. Like it's so carny that it could totally be a work. It could totally be a shoot. And at the end of the day, they're still not going to get me to watch Total Divas or whatever. They're not. That's just not my program and not my programming. And but I also find it interesting and intriguing. And if they do something with it that entertains me on the main shows, good, more power to them.
Do you
Good
think
luck.
they'll fly John Cena out to find the reporters' remains in Saudi Arabia?
No.
In the
Wow.
Marine 7?
Wow.
Oh, Marine
Right.
7.
Right.
Now we're talking Marine 7.
Now Miz might do that because he's a saint. All right.
The
So
Miz is
anyway,
smart
Ricky
enough not to
Mundo.
go out there.
Ricky Mundo does some crazy weird finish that I can't even describe on B.
It's a neck breaker driver. It's a dumb move. Curtis Axel does it.
It looked really dangerous, but B took it, and B doesn't wrestle a ton, so he ain't exactly the always on top of his game. He does a shoot job and does other things in life too, and like seeing him do a spot like that, I was a little like, damn, B, you haven't wrestled in the last 2 months, man. Maybe you should not be doing crazy spots like that right off the bat. But he took it, and Ricky dealt it, and that was the spot that they were working up to kind of get Ricky's character over, leading into this big Taya match. And then he, Brenda being the bridesmaid, you get a little bit of payoff for that because he put her in a crippler crossface.
Yeah,
Then
I mean, he basically put her in a crossface and put her hand on his dick.
that you're the I see. I didn't know that because I wasn't looking at Ricky's dick. The only way that you would know that is you had to already be looking at Ricky's junk, and I think it's you, Byron. I think it's you.
Of which,
You
see Brian Cage's from backstage.
I just watch what the camera shows. Brandon, what do you have to say about that?
All I gotta say is, dicks are big right now.
They
You
are.
know?
Actually, Brandon
Yeah,
can answer this now.
yeah,
When you're shooting on your camera
yeah,
and Brian Cage goes up on a turnbuckle and he's stood there,
yeah.
do you happen to notice anything? Does something show up a lot?
Not,
It doesn't show up that much.
no.
On this
I
podcast,
think
we
it's
have
Byron. I don't think Brandon's paying any attention to that. He frames the guy up. It's a low angle, and he gets the guy in the shot, and he does his job, and he walks away.
Yeah.
Byron is the only one afterwards that is still thinking about Cage's penis.
And
But
Casey, we both were ringside, and his
I've seen it myself.
blue snorkel
I've
just
been there.
protruding through his baby blue tights. And there's this one picture of him from one of the earlier seasons of Lucha Underground. He's at the top of the stairs, and he's like, "Who better than Cage or something at the top?" And you can clearly see where the groin area was photoshopped, smoothed out.
You know
You
what the
think-
answer to Who Better Than Cage is, right? It's Canyon.
Who dude?
It's Canyon.
I love that he does that. I love Cage, and I love that Cage pays tribute to Kanyon because Kanyon was awesome. He was a great wrestler. He was great to his fans. And he's
All right. So that basically that whole thing set up a match with Taya and Ricky. It's the Huera Loca versus Creepy Dollfucker match. That will also be at Ultima Lucha Cuatro. And then that leads to one of the surprise matches of the season, I think. Reclusa versus Pentagon Dark. I almost called him Penta El Cerro Miedo. That's a different guy. Pentagon Jr., also a different guy. We were there for this match. I think all of us except Meatloaf. And I didn't know what to expect. I've always liked Chelsea. I had never seen her wrestle against a guy before. And I didn't know what we would get. I didn't know if we were going to get a whole lot of Penta just protecting her and kind of doing all the work or but holy fuck buckets. I don't know if they spent a lot of time back in the back working on this thing or what, but it is to date the hardest I've ever seen Chelsea Green go, or Reclusa, whatever you want to call her. Absolutely the hard. And I've seen her go hard, especially with a couple of the other girls that she's worked with a lot. But going with Penta, she went hard. Clearly, she thought this was a big moment for her. You could see it on her face. I saw her backstage before, and she was really excited about the match. She was really into it, and she completely brought it. I was floored. Did not think that we were going to see that match. Did not think that was going to happen. It was shades of Taya and Cage, the match I mentioned earlier, where you get a female performer in there, and they don't get these opportunities very often. Like, Chelsea Green has turned herself into a top name on the indies, but at the same time, Penta is absolutely the top, right up there with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And outside of WWE, Penta is probably number 3 or 4 in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And she really, I think, appreciated that and told herself, I'm not going to phone this in. I'm not going to just ask for some match where I'm getting protected the whole time. I'm not just going to do a bunch of soft spots. She's doing fucking dives. She took a spike pile driver on the apron. She took the Penta driver on the apron and then gets a kick out after it too, which is fucking amazing.
And that's what I like about Lucha. They make women look strong, like especially at that night, Reclusive. But that was her moment. And who's going to elevate her more than in this business than Penta right now? The way Penta works and did right place, right time. She knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I was really pleased. She should be very, very proud of herself. I don't know if the rumors are true about her going to WWE, but we'll certainly love to have her stay in Lucha Underground. And if she goes to WWE, I hope they push her right to the top of the program almost immediately, because I think she's probably more talented than at least 60% of those girls that are there right now.
I mean, she's with Ryder, so I think it was inevitable she was going to go to.
Well, yeah, and I think everyone knew that it was inevitable, and I think everyone was surprised even that she came to Lucha Underground at all, and that she didn't just wait it out and go straight to WWE. That she would come and take bumps like that and do a performance like that.
But saying that though, her performance, this is the best. No one's seen her perform on TV nationally, internationally like she did with this.
Yeah.
So this is part of spotlight.
I mean, All In was huge for her, but she also shared the ring with a few people and also wasn't a featured match compared to.
Well, and they didn't have the time to put the work into that match either. I think all those girls showed up that day and they did a little run through and then they just did the match. I feel like her and Penta were in the back for a while with the agents working on this thing to make sure it came off like that. I can't see this match being that good without that kind of time put into it, And I know Penta this particular season too was there this weekend, I think longer than other ones where he just came in and out for shows and stuff. I remember that he was around a lot more, so I'm hoping that that's part of why, or that was part of the benefit of him being around more this particular weekend, that they actually got to put in more time. Yeah, because he came in pretty last minute on the weekend before this too. He came in really last minute and flew out like immediately afterwards for something else.
So do you think if Penta does in fact get called up, how are they going to deal with his style? I feel like most of his style with the package power driver and everything, all of his moveset is going to pretty much change. The only thing that's going to stay is him peeling out the glove. That's the only thing.
They're going to love that. They're going to love that. If he can get a whole audience to shut up while he does a chest slap, they're going to love that. He's going to lose the Penta driver.
No, he can still do the
they'll give him the Mexican Destroyer one.
He can still do the, what is it? Is
package
pump handle, whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody took someone
not the package pile driver.
Yeah, he can do the pump handle one, the pump handle driver thing. He can still do that. That's legal. They will not let him do the Penta driver where he cradles the legs, the cradle pile driver. They will not let him do that. That's the one that Chelsea took on the apron.
Yeah, that was Kevin Owens' finish.
Do that, though.
They might let him do it on 205.
Maybe.
I swear I've seen him do it recently.
I don't think, but I also don't think they'll let him do it. They're going to do what they did with Shinsuke. They'll soften the moveset. They'll let him have enough of it so that it pays homage to what Penta formerly was. Yeah. But they will work him differently. You'll see a lot of sling blades and stuff like that. And
everyone does sling blades.
Huh? Penta does like 12 of them in a match now. Have you
Yeah,
seen the
but
way he
they
works now? It's like he runs the rope and sling blades people over and over again. That's like,
No, he
especially
does
when
like
he's
this-
working with American workers where they don't understand what he's saying. He will do that over and over again.
He'll do like 3 in a row. But they signed a bunch of wrestlers who all did sling blades. There was a minute where WWE had no sling blades. Then they signed like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Those guys do all the same moves.
Yes, and Penta will be very similar to Finn Balor in his move sets. I think that they let him do.
But
I bet
I
they
just
pick-
don't. I'm scared for Penta because if he does in fact go, I don't think his English is crazy strong. So
No, it's pretty good now.
It's getting
pretty
better.
good now.
just from what I've heard, being there ringside, it didn't seem very strong. So, but
My problem is I think that his actual English is getting better now, but he doesn't sound very tough when he speaks in English. He sounds a lot tougher and meaner when he speaks in Spanish. He sounds
He
a
can
little
hold
pussified. What's that mean? If you,
a conversation with me, he can hold a conversation with me, and I have.
I can't even
terrible
hold a
English.
conversation with you. How does that
Yeah,
work?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, my
So
favorite
maybe
thing
I'm
is
in the middle.
Well,
So, like,
Penta
like,
speaks
now
more
it's all-
English than you, is what it is.
my favorite thing
Yeah.
is where Penta will be yelling for like a minute and a half, and then the subtitles underneath him will say, "I'm gonna beat you up."
Oh yeah, he said.
I think he said more than that.
He said something "puto chinga tu madre," and the
Yeah.
translation on screen was "I'm going to break you."
Yeah.
yeah,
That was funny.
yeah.
I think they just do that to see if people like have a basic concept of Spanish swear words.
Didn't
I think it's
Tejano
half the
say
joke
I'm gonna?
as well.
Tejano said I'm gonna split you in two in season 2, didn't he? Season 1 or 2?
Yeah.
The best.
What's Tahano? Tahano was a ghost this year. What?
He was another victim of the visa thing, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I
He's
didn't know.
working,
I didn't know that.
He's working for Famous B down in Mexico.
Yeah,
wrestling.
according to canon. Yeah, a lot of guys missed out from this season because of the turnaround on the episodes and the Trump era and getting visas. And we talked about a little bit on the show about, people who dislike Lucha Underground this season or have issues, if it's because the product has gone a different direction or, if it just never turned into what that they were looking for. A lot of people who are big fans have issues with Lucha Underground now. And I don't share those issues because I still find it to be highly entertaining for what it is. And I think that everyone involved in making it now has got a better understanding of what they have to work with. And I know that there were a lot of grandiose plans the first couple of seasons. And I know, I was sold on the EV Dub vision of Lucha Underground of we do 40 episodes a year, then maybe they get some touring in and the guys can do some stuff, but we hit the Hammerstein ballroom type places and we go there for 2 days at a time, kind of like what Impact is doing right now, where they take the show on the road in small bursts, but that's not for TV. That's just to tour it a little bit and give everybody some money to work. And that merchandise is awesome and always, which it got better over time. That first couple years was painful though.
But although at Ultima Lucha Quattro, they still had shirts for Ultima Lucha Tres. They had no Ultima Lucha Quattro shirts.
And all they had to do was like big block letters that just said UL4, and they probably could have sold at least 700 of them that day.
Yeah.
You know what they've been doing with that the past seasons? They'll do the shirt with the matches, and they'll put them up for sale once it's aired.
But why? It's just free publicity for the match.
I don't know. I have my
people are going to buy the shirt to do with the event. Are going to buy it at the event, aren't they? You don't buy the shirt after because Woodstock happened. I'm going to buy a fucking shirt with Woodstock written on it.
Well, and it's weird though, but this goes back to the whole thing of Lucha Underground really being all these separate entities of being MGM and being El Rey Network and being Lucha Libre FMV, and it's Dory and it's Evie Dub, it's Rodriguez, it's Burnett. It's like every guy gets their money from a different place, and that's really on Dorian. It's like, and Dorian, I think, looks at Lucha Underground and he doesn't see it like the live events in Mexico where he can really make money off a mask or a t-shirt because there's 500 people in a room. So he doesn't really I don't think he really feels the onus to make that happen for those events. That's not really what it's about.
Yeah.
I think it's about like this product exists, and that allows him credibility in the overall bigger world of television and wrestling. And it's not really about making the day-to-day money. Again, it's the difference between Lucha Underground being a TV show or being a promotion. You know, if you're a TV show, if you're Sons of Anarchy, you put out 2 Sons of Anarchy t-shirts and you make some money and you call it a day. You don't put one out for something cool that happens in one episode of Sons of Anarchy. But you do put out a fucking Sons of Anarchy jacket because you know it's going to make money. And it's like, you know, there's the logo shirt for Lucha Underground. It's weird because Lucha Underground is just, it's not a wrestling promotion. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
And that makes it, I think that just makes it difficult. I don't know that the powers that be up at the top of the ladder are ever going to have a cohesive enough unit to get together, you know, storyline and marketing and event promotion and have it all be one symbiotic thing.
Which is sad because I agree with you that it is more of a TV program than it's a promotion. But that's sad because I literally think it's the best televised action.
Absolutely. It 100% is.
So I wish that they would let the guys sell the T-shirts and stuff, kind of PWG style, you know, in that big waiting area. I wish that, you know, if Penna was selling his masks there, you'd see 50 masks in the arena.
Well,
so,
his shirts had 3. They sold them one weekend, and when he won the title, everyone was wearing them. The whole place was filled with them.
Yeah. So, and I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know why there isn't a bigger presence of the wrestlers selling their merch, because then that would get that more jazz to promote, and it'd be a win-win for everybody.
Well, and that's part of the thing too. And I do believe that for the future of Lucha Underground, that kind of indie credibility is going to be more necessary now, because I think everyone knows that Lucha Underground isn't going to turn into this big touring promotion. Yeah. You know, big stars are going to come in and out. People are going to make a name for themselves in Lucha Underground, and they're going to be gone. It's not going to be, you know, this thing where there's this huge locker room that sticks around for 20 years, because there's just not enough work. One month of work a year isn't going to do that. And EV Dub, I think, was right, and those guys were right to loosen up on the contracts, let these guys work, let them make money elsewhere, so that they keep good relations with the rest of the wrestling world, to do stuff with Impact and other wrestling companies. Totally smart move. But at the same time, to make that really work and to capitalize on it, you got to get whoever is in the locker room. And a lot of them are still really excited about it. I mean, you see how excited Sammy Guevara was to come into Lucha Underground. Capitalize on that. He's got a lot of followers. Let him go out there and promote a certain way. Let him come and sell T-shirts and be the excited new young kid on the block that, you know, is going to catch hard shots from the boys in the back because he's green. You know, whatever.
But I do think Sammy Guevara is the biggest heel in PWG. He is hated. Yeah. He is hated in that room. But then he comes to Lucha Underground. He does that amazing moon flip onto Swagger, onto Strong.
Yeah.
And he was over at that moment, and he got killed. But you know,
well, of course, and I think it made it hard for DJ too. Like, fuck, what do I do with this guy? He's kind of over here, and he's a heel everywhere else. Like, and they let him come in as himself, because I guess he was one of the short notice guys that filled in when all the visas didn't come through. But you know, I think that Lucha Underground is going to need to invest a little more going forward in their indie credibility. I think that's going to be an important factor for the season 5 that has been announced by Ricky Reyes.
Oh God!
You guys get this?
I will say. I mean, I don't know if that's worth anything going over, but one of the charms of season 1 was part of that indie feel where everyone was coming in, and it's like you're getting to see all these amazing wrestlers. And then next week, and you're like, oh, I see one of them in a parking lot. I'm gonna go buy some merch. And like, I bought a Pentagon mask, or Casey bought a Pentagon mask from Pentagon in the parking lot. I wasn't there that weekend. I was in New York that weekend, but you could do that then, and it was fun. And that's a appeal of PWG and the indie shows. You get to go shake their hand, take the mark photo, buy the shirt from the wrestler.
Right. And when there's only 400 or 500 people coming to the tapings anyway, and they're all standing around, and you've got kind of a small captive audience that is really into your product. Everyone is there for your product. They're not just going because they got a ticket. It's not WWE. Not a room full of 14,000 people. It's 500 people that actually want to be there. You should absolutely be doing that. Or making a way for certain people to do that. Like have a VIP line for 50 people that get to go to a signing every time, or special tickets that get given away to the best fans, whatever. It's just going to make the crowd hotter. It's going to make people care about it more. And it's going to give the show more indie cred. And, if somebody is out there on Twitter the next week selling that signed poster or autograph thing or showing it off on their Instagram or whatever, that's only going to get seen by other wrestling fans and probably real wrestling fans. And that's only going to help the product. It's only going to help the ratings go up, help keep the stability there, keep the workers happy about doing it so that they don't want to revolt and leave anymore.
Let me get Eric on the phone. Let me get Eric on the phone. Eric,
I don't know how the American how it works at shows where you guys go to, but so the last one I went to, what they do is you can get in like an hour early.
Yeah.
And
I did that.
Do like the meet and greet. So you pay. So that's like $32.50. This is from mask buying. I know my conversions. And you wait in a line. You go through, and then you work your way down all the wrestlers, and they give you a poster. You get that signed by all the wrestlers, apart from El Fantasma because he's a dickhead. Not El Fantasma, not El Fantasma, El Fantasma, who's a Canadian wrestler.
Okay.
Gimmick steel.
Not El Hijo.
Justin and I did that at FSW. It was cool.
El Hijo, El Fantasma's my boy.
Good.
I literally own.
When you say he's your boy, that means you're his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
No.
Yes. Es verdad.
You're Cuerno's girlfriend. It's fine.
Es verdad.
He's got a great body.
I've got his ring gear from this season of Lucha Underground now.
Yeah, no, a lot of places are like that. A lot of shows do that. We did that at FSW, Byron and I, and it was, it was kind of in the hallway to the main place where everyone gets in. So there was a pre-meet and greet thing for, people who bought the VIP tickets where you get a photo and everything just as part of your admission. And then there was a regular early access where, everyone was lined up, but if you were going to get a photo, you're supposed to pay the guys for it or whatever, and you get a signed poster or whatever. But you worked the whole line, and, we had Matt Hardy there that day, and Willie Mack and Sami Callihan, and AR Fox was there.
Fox was there. Cage and Melissa.
Cage, Mundo and Taya were there.
They were cool.
We totally no-sold
Sammy.
Davey Boy.
I feel bad, but I feel I have to every single time. I have to no-sell him at those. At MLW, he was there. And when I was at the big event that's in Queens, it's coming up again. It's like where everyone is there at their gimmick tables. And I have to I like his work, but I have to just walk by him like I don't care who he is.
Davey Boy? Smith Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the thing we started that night.
We started it. It's a thing. We have no idea. We just totally no-sold the shit out. Probably because AR Fox was right there. We wanted to go talk to AR.
Yeah. I mean, I love his work. And at the MLW show, I tweeted him afterwards that he had the match of the night and he liked it or something. But in person, I don't know. But I tell you, I went to the MLW thing and it was weird. It was not set up where they were all around you go in line. So like Joey Ryan was out first. And Harry and Simon Grimm were out, and Simon Grimm was just standing around talking to people. He was cool. I didn't go up to him though, but I went up and talked to Joey Ryan for a minute, and he was like super cold. And then I felt like, like these guys don't want me to waste time if I'm not buying something from them. So then I just hung out and talked with fans instead. I was like,
you're getting in the way of their $25, man. You just gotta.
I paid a lot extra for that. And then I felt like,
well, yeah, but you still don't want to talk to like you're paying for the access to go and buy more stuff from them.
And get it there before it sells out. That's the thing. The thing is, so I feel really bad because whenever I go to these English shows, like obviously like Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven are there, and I just walk straight past them, and I just go straight to Luchadors.
Well, because they're the regular blokes for you. I mean, they're there all the time.
No. But the thing is, I honestly don't really talk to them. I just like go, oh no, I'll go in Luchadors and I'll go and stand there and have a chat for like 10 minutes or something with them.
Yeah, I was talking to
like,
I thought Meef and I were talking because I thought Phoenix was going to be at the show, at the MLW show, and I was thrilled because I was going to try and buy a mask from him then, but it got switched into Daga because of a match or something, whatever. And he was
in Germany.
Phoenix was
in Germany.
So, so I was bummed, and then but LA Park was there, so maybe if LA Park showed up for the meet and greet, I would have been able to. You don't like LA Park?
Oh
no, he doesn't like you for getting to see LA Park.
LA Park was
a meet and greets.
First of all, LA Park and his son took over like the whole stairwell as their locker room. They do whatever they want. It's amazing. And then he had this match. I didn't know PCO was a thing until like 2 weeks ago, and then a week ago I saw him and the LA Park just tear it up. It was the best.
LA Park's always been.
He has a legit. Have you seen the scar on PCO's chest? Do you know where that comes from?
What's it come from? Is he a soldier from the future?
No. He got a surgeon to cut it open for a promo. So he had his chest legitimately surgically opened. So when he was cutting a promo, it was
Why would you pay a surgeon to do that when you could just call New Jack?
Kayfabe.
I think he had a friend. Yeah, like someone was telling me about this. Like literally, that's what he did. It was like, what the fuck?
All right, look, I gotta wrap up talking about this episode because I got a couple other things I got to talk about, and then I got to go get some food. Well, let's talk about the ending of this thing. Gasoline. Let's talk gasoline.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The whole temple smelled like gasoline the whole day.
Yeah, that's true.
And
just a tinderbox. Everything you were sitting on was soaked in gasoline earlier in that day.
I don't understand what was going on, and maybe you could shed some light on this because there was a legit gas smell in the room in the ring, but I don't think that was real gas that was poured at the end. Yet there was a lot of people that were genuinely worried that there was going to be a real fire spot. I don't know if there was plans on a real fire spot that got pulled.
Right. Now I am remembering that, but that was more like a propane smell.
I don't know what it was, but before the gas can actually even came out, people were talking about how they were worried about the gas smell, and people were telling security and whatnot. And then Martin comes out with a gas can, and everyone's like, "Oh no, what the? This is? Did this turn into XPW? What is happening here?"
That was Pentagon's gas can when he tried to light Vampiro on fire. That was awesome.
Looks like you're about to elbow your cat. Top rope.
No, she's snoozing right there.
Billy Fever's gonna get some bows dropped. Anyway, the whole end of this was very tense. I liked what was going on with the tacks and the barbed wire baseball bat. It pretty much screams like if you don't want to see the Sierra Meadow match, then there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's great when Marty dropped a knee or a barbed wire shot on Pentagon and ended up just planting his whole palm in the tacks.
By himself. Yeah. He can't not bump too hard at some point in time.
Yeah. I think Penna is Cerro Miedo, but I truly think Marty is Cerro Miedo because
yes,
there's a match this season that the director was very worried that he was going to possibly bleed out because he just goes for it. Marty goes for it, man, and
does he Wagner it?
Well, and I've had this conversation with Marty.
That's the official bar now, isn't it?
I mean, I've had this conversation with Marty. Like, Marty will do things like in a lumberjack match, he'll be off on the side bumping when there's no camera around, and only 3 people are in the whole arena are watching him, and he will bump harder than he does on camera. Like, people just don't understand. If he's putting on a show, he doesn't have a way to keep himself from absolutely putting on the best of what he thinks is a show. Now, maybe this is
though, isn't he?
Well, it was.
So he's got that actor's mentality of.
But it was like Ultimate Lucha 1. There was a big match, like a big battle royal or something,
right?
And that's when we first noticed how legit he was when he was taking headfirst bumps into walls and into the stairs or
with no cameras on him.
No cameras, and he's just headfirst bumping. Someone touches him, boom, and he's going hard. We're like, oh wow.
Yeah, I've seen him go into those bleacher steps a couple times too when there are no cameras on him, and just like, wow, bro.
I remember watching Marty talk over a spot with Vampiro and what he wanted to do. And Vampiro, I don't know if you call him like a hardcore legend, but he's done some crazy stuff, and he had to keep dialing Marty back because Marty just wanted to go so heavy and so deep with things and get blood and take a bump like this instead of taking a bump like this. And Vampiro had like, what do you do in your body? Don't do that. It was very strange having like a king of darkness, talk him off the ledge.
And given Martin doesn't wrestle as a lot as some of these other guys, so he doesn't take the daily wear and tear that a lot of these performers do. But at the same time, oh my God, the dude's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys gotta watch the rest of the season because his craziest moments are still to come. And it's not a secret. It's not going to be a secret that he's got some ridiculous shit coming up. And it's part of the reason why they put the belt on him. It really is, because he put the time and effort into it, and he's willing to go the extra mile. And we just have to keep him from going too far. But the good thing is, since he was on this show last week and Lucha Underground was already taped, everyone at least knows that he lives.
Yes.
Yeah. That was like
the thing is
that was like after the one Ultima Lucha. All of a sudden, Marty's hair's really short.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then a few months later, you're like, oh, he's in a hair match.
Like, oh, this all makes kind of sense.
You can only protect it so much.
So I gotta ask you guys. Go ahead.
So I was just gonna say I have to say, I always say it repeatedly because I think it needs saying for him. He's the guy who Pentagon became massive from Lucha Underground. That whole gimmick just took off like wildfire. But Marty, when he turned up, I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't think anything of him. And his character work and effort and everything he's put into that character, just the whole shebang has just been amazing. Like watching him, if you got to go back now and watch it as like a timeline, I think it'd be so amazing to. It's just what he's put in and everything like that. It's just,
and that's why I wish that Lucha Underground would get. That's why I wish Lucha Underground would get a green light faster every season, because Chelsea could be that right now. But we're towards the end of the season and she's just getting this push now, and same with Cross, and it's just like, oh fuck, can they get these people back next year when they do this again?
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah, and it's like, because you see the potential there. Like if the reclusive character is back, oh my God, what the hell could you do with her now? What can you do with Cross as the White Rabbit going forward with canon stuff and ring work? He's barely touching the ring so far this season. You're just getting kind of a little taste of it, and you see what he can do over in Impact and other things. But just like Penta, the version of the character that you get in Lucha Underground is a different thing. It's a different thing for Chelsea. She's not the hot mess. She's this other evil kind of crazy woman. And with Cross, you've got Cross being this ultimate hitman guy in these other places, but he's got supernatural capabilities in Lucha Underground. Like, what can they do when you combine that with the insanity of Paul London and DJ's writing and Cross's wrestling and mean faces and his promo skills? You want to see what they can do with these guys, but keeping these guys around is going to be hard. Cross came straight from a WWE Performance Center tryout to Lucha Underground. Yeah, they know who the hell he is. They know who Chelsea Green is because her boyfriend is there. You know what I mean? You can't keep these guys under wraps forever. So
we'll enjoy them while we have them.
Right, and let's just hope, because I like the way those characters build, and Martin is a great example of what they can do given the time. We talked about with Ricky Mandel. I think given the time, those people can be elevated to something greater, to something bigger. I even think Shane Strickland, as much as he was getting over his swerve and doing his swerve gimmick before he came to Lucha Underground, now he's one of the top guys on the indies. And a lot of people didn't make much out of the Killshot character, but that was part of the onus of what did it, was coming into that locker room, feeling the respect from the locker room, whether he was getting a ton of camera time on Lucha Underground or not. And then his indie career just started to take off. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that he built those relationships in that Lucha Underground locker room and took them to those other promotions, and now he's a fucking superstar, and he's probably on their radar. All these guys are.
He calls himself the ace of MLW, which I don't know if that's a Tanahashi reference, but I mean, he's, like on the indies, like the shows he goes to, he works at, he's their top star. And his acting, his character work is top notch. And you got to think that the creative focus that Lucha Underground utilizes has to have been a huge effort, because on the indies, it's like make your face, sell your shirt, do your 10 finish, spots, but there's no focus, there's no direction, and that's something like we talked about, how there was a bit of a problem with Cage with how great he was, but he's kind of like, he's the moves, he's not over it, like you want to see him do the moves, but he doesn't have like the character that you want to win. Whereas like Killshot, he has that background, it comes through in his matches, comes through in his mannerisms, and it's all focused for the character and a story.
He went and look, Shane Strickland went and learned how to have star power. Yeah, he absolutely learned it. I saw the guy 3-4 years ago. He was great. He was very interesting. He was not a star.
Did he
learn how to have star power? I don't know. A lot of those guys do, and they're smart if they do. But he learned to have it. All right, so I got to talk about the best dive of the week, and it does not come from pro wrestling. It comes from Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov and his top of the cage dive into the crowd to whoop on Dylan Dennis. And I don't know if you guys saw any of what transpired. This was a great card. Everything was amazing. Everything that came out of Derek Lewis's mouth was genius.
My balls was hot.
My balls was hot. And then this whole, no, Joe Rogan, I talked to Donald Trump and he said I had, whatever he was talking, all amazing. He gained like 1 million followers on Instagram. And if you're not following his Instagram, you should be one of the 2 million that joined this week, because it's all hilarious.
Amazing. We got to go. He had like 20 seconds worth of gold sound bites. We had to go through all of them. One, Rogan's like, so everyone's saying you have to challenge for the belt now. He's like, what? I got nothing in my gas tank.
Joe, I'm just trying to take a nap. Like, what?
It's like, I'll come on your podcast 2 weeks, smoke some weed.
Oh, which is hilarious, because I don't know if you know this or not, but they did give him the title match. He is fighting Daniel Cormier now for the title. Cormier is not fighting Brock Lesnar.
He's not?
Not current. That's not the next fight scheduled. It's Derek Lewis. It's Derek Lewis versus DC at the in a month in New York at 2:30, like the next UFC pay-per-view. They didn't have a headliner. I think that DC was like, okay, he's beat up and tired and clearly doesn't have the cardio, so I don't mind fighting him if that's who you want to put in front of me instead of Brock. And I think, Derek Lewis is kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to fight right now, but it's a lot of money and it's a title shot and I could always win with one punch, so fuck it. So these two guys are headlining the next UFC now. Derek Lewis talked himself into, with that promo, talked himself into a title fight that was not there, that did not exist for him. That was not an option. He was going to have to wait it out or maybe get an interim belt while DC fought Brock. And that wasn't going to be until like January. And then DC was probably going to retire. DC's plan was to fight Brock and then maybe John Jones or maybe Gustafsson, whoever wins that fight, and then most likely retire in March. And instead, now he's fighting Derek Lewis, who, by the way, as out of shape as he is, as hard as he's coming off a fight that he almost lost, really could win with one punch. The dude is not called the Black Beast for nothing. That punch that he won that fight with was fucking ridiculous. I feel
like I want a Black Beast t-shirt.
You got to. I mean, he was 10 seconds away from losing that fight, and he was getting whooped on by Drago. He was getting whooped on by a giant Russian man in a brutal fashion. He had no business winning that fight. Won the fight in the last 10 seconds with a knockout, and went on to cut the best promo in wrestling or MMA or anywhere all week. Better than Khabib and Connor's shit. Absolutely stunning, amazing stuff. But still, not to be outdone by Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov flying out of the cage like he was going to actually fight a bear after the fight. Like, you've won the fight. Do you not understand? The guy talked all kind of smack about you, your religion, your country, your people, your fighting, talked all kind of shit, and then you humiliated him.
It was an easy win.
You beat the piss out of him. There was not going to be a rematch. There was not going to be any more talk of it. He was going to be out of your life. He was sobbing quietly into a pillow in the corner at the end of the match, talking about reevaluating his life goals. You know, clearly lost the fight.
Where's Casey?
Yeah, I think when he jumped out of the ring, he was just auditioning for Lucha Underground.
Let's hope. I come fight with bears, Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
I mean,
give him a bear gimmick.
That video is amazing, by the way.
Oh, that'd be great.
Have you watched the video of him fighting a bear?
Tell him, fighting a bear.
He'll do it.
That's amazing.
Single leg grabs, and the bear's like, no.
I think the only two men crazy enough in the world to actually want to fight a bear are probably Khabib Nurmagomedov and Josh Barnett. Because Josh Barnett
used to run that gimmick.
Which I got a little inside information, by the way, over this past week about that Josh Barnett. You know, when Jay White knocked that was legit. That was unplanned, and Josh Barnett truly was walking around that ring trying to kill Jay White. That was all unplanned.
And Josh Barnett is that kind of crazy guy. Like when Josh Barnett says things like, I don't know about MMA, you know, maybe I'll retire from that and go do like some real death matches in Thailand or Japan or something. He's not kidding. Josh is a really nice kind of guy, but there's also something loose in here. And Frank Mir's a little bit that way too. Like Frank Mir will just break a guy's arm and just kind of stand there like, oh yeah, your arm's broken.
Which is the scariest thing. Which is even scarier than them being all hyped up about it.
Yeah, and Barnett is absolutely one of those. And people think it's a joke. It is not a joke. If Josh Barnett looks at you one day and says, I'm going to wrestle an alligator, back the fuck up because he's going to go wrestle an alligator.
Do you think he should still do commentary on Axis? I liked it when he wasn't.
I don't know. I don't know what Josh Barnett should do at this point in time. I mean, he got out of his UFC contract. He's got kind of the world at his feet again. And he's only got a couple years left to still be crazy. So Josh Barnett should just go and be crazy for a couple of years. Then he should calm down. Then he should take the announcing jobs and sit at a desk and chill the fuck out for the rest of the time.
Speaking of crazy, can I ask you what you think of Fedor and Chael Sonnen?
I think Chael has always been a better talker than fighter, and Fedor put it on him as he deserved. I mean, did you see the footage afterwards where he's like hugging Fedor or whatever, and they're talking, and then Fedor gives him a jacket, and Chael's just like, yeah, man, wow. Well, that thing you did with my face, let's not ever do that again.
No, I read some of his post-fight comments. He's like, everything that Fedor did hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and that was all legit. And I don't think that Chael went in there not thinking that he could have found a way to win. But he came up against a guy who was definitely better than him, definitely bigger. He felt his power the whole time. And then afterwards, Chael had a lot of respect for Fedor.
Fedor went away for a few years, right?
Yeah, Fedor's been in and out because Fedor never went away. Fedor just, he had his contracts through that M1 global company for a long time, and they were kind of managing in him a certain way for certain amounts of money. There's been talk that some of his Japan stuff may have been fixed, may not have been. Nobody really knows. But towards the end of when Japan kind of dried up for him, he just didn't do anything until M1 started running stuff in Russia. But then his contract with them was up, and then that's when the Bellator thing happened. So then now you see a lot more Fedor. It's a shame because I think business and Fedor letting other people run the business of Fedor Emelianenko cost him a chance to be as big a name as he could have been. If he had gone to the UFC back in the day when there was really still a chance, he would have had to take a tremendous pay cut. But he could have done it on a 2 or 3 fight deal. And for his overall legacy and for his pocketbook down the road, I mean, he could be looking at Conor kind of money right now had he done that. He would have been the biggest star. He would have been Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar.
Well, they were trying to work a fight between him and Brock, right? Or that's the fantasy. Like, as far as like,
there was all sorts of fantasies. Him and Randy Couture, him and Brock, him and a couple of those guys. I mean,
well, I'm a real casual fan, and to me, Fedor was always the unofficial heavyweight champ.
Right.
He always seemed like the best, and only if it was like a wish if only someone could fight him.
But that's part of why he needed to come to the UFC, because The drug regulations were stricter. I mean, in Japan and in the early days of Pride, there was no regulations against steroids or all sorts of performance enhancers. And so nobody knows. And there was also no commission regulating the fights. So they could have been worked. People don't know if early Pride was works or all real. And there's some fights that people have said were clearly works, but not all of them. So it's like there were some fights where they're like, get a guy to come in and they would say, okay, well, you're going to do this. You're going to fall down, whatever, and say we actually go out there and punch each other and do real MMA. But at the same time, eventually one of them was going to give up and let it happen. And Pancrase was the same way. Some of it was shoot, some of it was work. And nobody knows. But the problem for Fedor is because he never did a run in the UFC, even though he's doing legit stuff now with Bellator and he did with Strikeforce. It never gave him the legitimacy that he should have had in his career. And even to this day, even at 44 or whatever he is, I still think when his Bellator contract is over, he should try to go and do one fight with the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Do you think as a heavyweight, he's one of the most durable heavyweights too? Because they all like the ones that win, they seem to somehow get hurt almost right away.
Well, I mean, they're big, tough guys that are doing something overly athletic for their size, and it's tough on them. I mean, it's the same way as, these big wrestlers and their knees go.
But does Fedor hasn't really, or he doesn't fight often enough for it to be noticeable.
Yeah, he has in the last few years. I mean, he's fighting a lot. He's fought 4 or 5 times in the last 2 years. So now he's on a regular schedule like most MMA fighters since he joined Bellator, and they're paying him for it, and he's very happy with it. And he's taken some losses and he's taken some wins. So we'll see where it goes from here. All right, guys. Well, that's about all I have. Anybody else want to add anything? Brandon, you got anything you want to plug?
Just Ryan Baxter reenactor on iTunes. That's really the only outlet for me right now.
And I guess we'll all be looking for WoW when it comes on Access. Do we even know? Do we have a date of airing for that?
I think it said January 19th.
Okay, so WoW will start airing then. The Contender's on Epix right now, and I think there's a couple episodes left before the finale. And of course, Lucha Underground. A few more episodes left, and hopefully Brandon will survive them and not have to take any more bumps.
Well, if they bump me, maybe I'll get a bump.
Yeah, exactly. You should be asking for that next season's contract, which according to Ricky Reyes is happening. I just like reporting. I'm going to ask Evie Dub I didn't even bother to email or text Evie Dub to ask for a comment on that, because from everything I understand is that, yes, everyone at El Rey would love another season of Lucha Underground. Budget has not been approved yet. Therefore, no funds have been released. Therefore, visas have not been gotten. Storylines have not been solidified because they don't know what talent's coming or a date or a place or a venue. So there can be a green light all day long. The network can say yes all day long, but until they start paying somebody to go and actually do it, the show is not officially back.
Yeah, and they were going to, last time I heard, they were going to demo that ice house that we just shot the season in. Has that happened yet?
I don't think it's demoed yet. From talking to Evie Dub, even on this show, I don't think he necessarily wants to go back. As good as some of the things were there, the leaky ceiling and some of the other things, I think bothered him enough that he said flat out he'd rather go back to the old temple if possible. But again, I don't think he's going to do what he did for season 4, which was to reserve it for a whole bunch of time that they never used it for and then still not get it at the end. I don't think he's going to waste that money again. So I think they'll wait for a green light. And then once a green light happens, and now that they know that Lucha Underground can pretty much exist anywhere, they'll secure a venue and a time and a date and a place after El Rey says, okay, your budget of such and such per episode is officially approved, and here's the release of funds, and go make a show. So
it's just that.
Just to piss you off.
Yeah, I think that I love Ricky Reyes, but I think that he does not quite understand entirely how a TV show gets made and how these things work. So
I've heard other people on other podcasts also say season 5, blah, 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 and also talk about, we got a new venue, you're going to like it. And it's all this like unofficial stuff.
And but I do believe that the one thing you should take away from that is that there probably is going to be a season 5. I have not been given any reason to believe that there won't be a season 5. It's just very simply, I think El Rey is going to wait until the new books of 2019, like most TV networks and production companies do. They're going to wait to the new year because that's when things get real green lights, when they have money. When they're not huge networks, that's how it works. For reality TV level budgets, they get a budget, it gets approved. It's usually early in the year. I'm imagining it'll be sometime after January 19th when everyone gets back to their offices after the holidays. Sometime in February, they'll probably approve something, and then Lucha Underground can get up and running again. But I don't think that sometimes there's burn off money, and something will get a late year approval because they're trying to clear money from the books. I don't believe that El Rey Network is the kind of network that has that kind of excess sitting around where they need to clear money off the books. So I'm personally not anticipating it until the start of the new year. And I think very quickly after that, as soon as they see what kind of money Univision and their parent companies are giving them, they will more than happily pass that money along to Lucha Underground to keep it as one of the flagship shows on the El Rey Network. I think they'll do that for 2 more seasons after that, even because the contracts are already in place. And that is real talk of how the television business really works. So I think it'll happen. They'll get that money. And I think that anyone that is reporting that it is official right now is absolutely incorrect.
Did this newest season officially make you want to drink more Modelo?
I do drink more Modelo. I absolutely actually do.
Anyway.
I drink.
I always loved it. I know I always liked it, but then the constant reminders and being there and knowing that they support a product that I like made me want to support them more. And I never disliked their product, so I was like, "Oh, I'm happy to drink this shit. I'll drink it all day long. I'm all for it."
I think Modelo alone can just fund this show into all eternity.
They should.
Bagel bites, Modelo and bagel bites.
Oh, those bagel bites.
I mean, it's worth the price of admission to VIP alone.
Yeah,
just for the free bagel bites.
Yeah. Do you guys have sponsors? Or do we have to read a sponsor thing on?
We don't currently have any sponsors. We've had a few come in and out. Hollywood Liberal wants to plug his trip to New York City for Mania Week. Okay, and I still want to dump in Byron's toilet. That's good. I'm just going back to the chat real quick to see because I missed you guys for a little bit here. Zeus King has been hanging.
Did they say anything disparaging about my hair?
They like it.
No.
Paul Cross says he likes it.
Hollywood Liberal. That's Brandon, isn't it?
I don't know who that is.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know about Selena De La Renta getting signed with the Lucha Brothers, but I like her when her knees are working. And I don't mean that in a gross way. I mean, like, literally, she keeps having knee injuries.
Yeah, no, she's getting better. When I saw her at MLW, she had a cane. She wasn't limping, though.
Does she have a lawyer gimmick?
She's a manager. She's like a heel manager and has a stable. So like she has to like
But does she always wear like a black pantsuit and like a white
stuff like that?
Yeah,
she might change it up. But yeah,
I think I just did some stuff with her.
Yeah, she's around quite a bit and doing a lot of things right now.
Lady.
Oh, this is a good point by Zero Cool that all the women that want to go to WWE should just let Pinda wrestle them and guaranteed signing like the Black Lotus Tribe and now Chelsea and apparently women that wrestle against Penta get to go to the E.
People still talk about the Black Lotus Triad. Like they were there for like 3 shows or whatever.
They weren't even. They were there one weekend, and then they were in Vegas on the Friday night. They showed up at Lucha Underground on the Saturday, did some spots, and then they did the match on Sunday, and that was it.
But it was so impactful. But yeah, look at her, like Kairi Sane and Hirakiri. Is that her name?
Yeah, Hirokiri was her Lucha name, I think.
Yeah.
But
I wish they would come back. I wish they would quit their high-paying full-time wrestling job to work the 1 month a year at Lucha Underground.
At Lucha Underground?
Well, I wish I could do that. I wish I could just quit everything and work. If you talk to DJ, I'm trying to get on creative. I want to get. I
can't.
No,
I can't talk to DJ. What happens is I respect the guy and compliment the guy too much, and he got annoyed because I was always so nice to him, and he blocked me on Twitter.
Byron, there's a difference between a compliment and a backhanded compliment. If you say someone looks nice in that suit and they're actually wearing shorts, a tank top, and flip-flops, I think that they know you're being facetious.
That's not what I said.
It's
Well,
like
I mean,
what-
but
when
it's
you-
the
when you
kind of
wear
thing
red.
you say.
Like
I
when you wear
constantly
red on
talk
set.
about how good DJ's writing is, considering how well he does.
But see, then you said the considering thing.
What I'm complimenting. I'm
But you-
I'm
but
a
you-
huge
but you
fan.
But what are you considering while you're saying that?
Huh? No, he does really well with what he has. It's great.
With
You just, I mean, there's a
What?
shovel. There's a shovel, and you're using it.
I'm a big fan of his, and I really respect him a lot. And no, I do. I mean that in all seriousness.
Like Chavo.
But he's mean to me. No, I like Chavo a lot. But DJ's mean to
Fucking
me a
hates
lot.
you.
And he blocked me because he likes being mean to me. But I have thick skin and I have a healthy self-respect. So I'm okay with it.
Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah.
You promise? You promise you're gonna be okay, Byron?
Can you tweet at
Can
can you tweet something at DJ for me? Any of you?
I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
get into this, man. Like me and DJ are in a really, really good place right now, bro. And I just don't know that I want to do that for you.
I just want you to tell him that I like his headphones.
no, number one, I don't do Twitter. Number one. Number two, I don't want to jeopardize my possible chances of ever getting uncreative by mentioning your name to DJ.
Like ever. Like don't even do it.
Oh yeah.
Just take him Red
Don't
Vines
tell
and
me on the show.
Jägermeister and just you take DJ Red Vines, Jägermeister, and come with a notepad, and I bet you'll be uncreative in no time.
We went to high school together, actually.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, in Vegas. He was a grade above me, and we didn't run with the same circles, but found out afterwards that we went to the same Vegas high school.
Wow.
Wow.
So you got the reel in. Now you just
Yeah.
got to write a great gimmick for whatever 4 wrestlers that he gets visas for next year.
Because you got to do.
Byron.
What you got to do is you got to have storylines and gimmicks for like 4 white wrestlers as backups for when the Mexican wrestlers aren't allowed in the country again and they need last minute.
Well,
filling
that's true
stories.
because he's already got the storylines written for like the 7 guys he wants to come up from AAA, and he's had them written for a long, long freaking time. And he's probably sitting in a room right now, scared shitless that somebody else is going to grab those guys if they haven't already been grabbed somewhere because he had his eye on various.
How about
I'm sure Bandito's one of them.
The irony that DJ, who's been working in AAA and been doing fantastic things, and probably has really, really fantastic stuff written for these luchadors, and he can't actually use them because of the guy he voted for.
Yes.
The irony. That's as political as I want to get.
Yeah. We don't have to get any more political. Anyway, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I got to eat some food. I got to do some things. I got to wake up early, make some television tomorrow. 5 a.m. Meeflo's got to go to work. You have to work today, Meef?
No. I've got 2 days off.
I'm in lovely Portland, Oregon. In a few days, I will be in New York City hanging out with Byron, hopefully. Maybe we'll get a chance to do a podcast next week from New York. I think Kevin Cross wants to actually stop by the show sometime next week. Hopefully we get a hold of him. I'm really, really, really hoping to get a roundtable with Evie Dub, DJ, and Roach on the show at the same time before the end of this season. Working on it. I have no idea if anyone's schedule is going to make that happen, but I know Big Brother's done now, so
yeah. I
think DJ has some time, but who knows? I think Roach is like writing Fantasy Island furiously right now, so I have no idea.
Yeah, congratulations to Roach.
Him and Jillian are writing the new Fantasy Island for Blumhouse. So he's got his work cut out there. And then Evie Dub, well, he's got to deal with the Contender finale, and I don't know what else he's working on, but he's got that, and I think he's helping out a little bit with WoW.
He is, yeah. In post, I believe.
Right. So I think he's got some stuff on his slate, but maybe not too terribly busy like he was during Contender season. So keep your fingers crossed. and again, DJ might not show up just because of Byron. So who knows?
You mess it up, Byron.
What can you do?
It's weird because I also got like one of DJ's idols to show up and put over his show. And he looked at Justin and said, then he looked at Justin and said, "Thank you."
Yeah. It's okay. I'm fine with this. I'm totally fine with all of that.
You're talking about Van Winkle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just happens that way.
It does look more like the guy who has a white rapper friend.
I mean, you're actually even in the season finale of that show, aren't you?
I am.
So,
I'm in
so
the
it should
season
be
finale.
obvious that it was you. I think he was just no-selling you on purpose, bro.
There's a fake scene where they kick us out of the garage, and then there's real scenes where other producers and I are carrying up heavy mirrors up to the second floor because we were the ones who went and got them, and everyone else was off of work because it was after 4 p.m.
The little known thing about reality TV is that
Kayfabe, Brian, kayfabe.
the reality TV thing is that the crew sometimes actually makes the stuff on a process show.
That's never happened.
There's actual cars out there from major car builders that that I've done Bondo and paint work on and electronics. You don't want to know that because those cars are supposed to be worth a lot of money. And with my work, they're not.
Watch the time lapses. On my Boston show, there's this one demo scene where they're tearing up the floor in a kitchen, and there's legit me sitting on the countertop, like taking a nap while they're doing it.
Way to work, Byron. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going away. For Brandon Bumpcam over there, for Byron Fever, for Meatloaf and with his foul mouth and Falmouth. Can I say that? All right. Anyway.
You checked out. Meef checked out.
Thank you, Brandon, so much for coming by.
Of course.
And
thanks for having me.
By anytime. We should talk New Japan. There's
we should talk New Japan, but right now we should talk no more. Until next time, stay calm, man.
And stay in the mix.
Penis.
Son of a bitches.